Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Shenhao, a great start and the CO will give me a baby. Chapter 81. What? After listening to his son-in-law's words, Sha's father's expression changed drastically. Xiaoyi, are you saying that someone behind the Lu family in Zhonghai is eyeing Bing Ning? How can this be? Sha's father obviously didn't believe it. The Sha family had always kept a low profile. How could they provoke someone who was even fawned over by the Lu family in Shanghai? Who it is, we don't know yet. After pondering for a moment, Yizan thought of something. Uncle, did you ever remember to curse the jade pendant? Jade pendant. Father Sha is not a fool, so he naturally understood the meaning. Xiaoyi, you are saying that the people behind the Lu family in Zhonghai may be related to the person who gave me the cursed jade pendant for the ancestors of the Sha family back then. Just a guess. Yizan pondered deeply and continued, but it's better to be careful recently. In addition, I will send some people to protect the Sha family manor. Thank you Xiaoyi. Sha's father felt guilty after hearing this, but he did not refuse. After all, he knew very well that although the Sha family was much stronger now, it was still far behind the Zhonghai Lu family. After talking for a while, the two came out of the study. Papa. The two little ones, Xinshentongtong, happened to come to the villa with Sha Bining at this time, and they skillfully threw themselves into Daddy's arms, wriggling affectionately. When Sha's father saw this, a knowing smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and he couldn't help but sigh. Thanks to Xiaoyi, otherwise the Sha family would have a difficult road ahead. Soon, the tempting aroma of rice reached her nose from the kitchen. Sha's mother looked at the kitchen in surprise. Xiaoyi, I didn't expect that your cooking skills are so good. Of course, when the two little guys heard Grandma's words, they proudly raised their chins and said with a smile, Daddy is so awesome. Yeah, Mom knows best, right? After Sha Bining heard this, she rolled her eyes at the two little guys, but then her face turned red, and she didn't know what she was thinking. The villa is brightly lit and has a harmonious atmosphere. At a certain moment, Sha's mother couldn't help retching, and then ran to the side. Sha Bining asked with concern, Mom, are you okay? No, it's been a few days. Sha's mother breathed a sigh of relief and returned to the dining table. Yizan saw the look on his mother-in-law's face. Auntie, how about I take your pulse? Yes. After hearing this, Sha Bining was concerned. Mom, Yizan's acupuncture is not bad. That's it, then, okay. Thinking about the reactions these days, Sha's mother nodded. A little. Yizan looked strange. Seeing this, Sha Bining asked, Yizan, how are you? The eyes of everyone else in the villa fell on my uncle, and they mentioned that my wife had been having this symptom for several days. Auntie, congratulations on your pregnancy. After Sha Bining heard this, her beautiful eyes paused and she looked at her mother in astonishment. Yizan, are you right? My mother is pregnant. In fact, this information had a big impact on her. She and a certain perverted child were over 3 years old, and she told her that her mother was pregnant. This, Xiaoyi is real. After Sha's father heard this, his eyes shone brightly, knowing that this was very important to the Sha family. Yizan nodded slightly and continued. Judging from the pulse, it should be almost more than a month. More than a month. Thinking of this, Sha's father couldn't help but think about the time when the cursed jade pendant was lifted. He calculated that the time was just over a month ago. Xiaoyi, I'm really pregnant. Sha's mother was also a little confused, and her face turned red for a moment. After all, she knew best how hard Sha's father had worked during this period. If she hadn't already had a top-notch physique, she would have been tortured by him long ago. Yizan did not speak, nodded slightly, and then wrote the side. Uncle, this side can be grabbed, and it has a good effect on protecting the fetus. Xiaoyi, thank you, uncle. With such good news, Sha's father felt that he looked more than 10 years younger. Maybe this was a fat boy and the Sha family had an heir. Wow. After the two little guys heard this, they blinked and looked at their grandmother's belly with big curious eyes, and looked at Mom innocently. Mom, are we going to have a little uncle? PFF'd. Sha Bining, who was originally stunned, couldn't help laughing when she heard the words of the two little guys. It should be so. Of course Sha Bining knew that her father had always wanted a male in the Sha family to inherit the family business. Yes, Grandma is so awesome. Shingxin came to Sha's mother's side with a bright chirp, and looked at her curiously. Sha's mother's face turned red after hearing these words, and she glanced at Sha's father, who was very happy. Oh my god, madam, she's pregnant. No wonder madam likes to eat sour food. It turns out to be a reaction during pregnancy. Hey, that's it, our Sha family is going to have a young master again. Yeah, it's going to be lively again, I'm really looking forward to it. The maids were chattering, and Uncle Fu was also astonished and felt doubly happy. There was no young master in the Sha family, which was his biggest worry. After dinner, in the room. Sha Bing breathed a sigh of relief, thinking about the scene just now. My mother is actually pregnant, is it like a dream? Correct. Soon Sha Bining thought of something and became nervous. Husband, are you sure? If joy is in vain. Boom. Before he could finish speaking, Yi Zan was hit with a bang on his head, and Sha Bingning let out an, in pain. Bing Ning's wife, you don't believe in my husband's medical skills. Then he looked at the beautiful woman deeply and laughed. Don't you know how powerful your husband is? There is nothing wrong with the mother-in-law's pregnancy, and it's still a boy. It won't be long before she has a brother-in-law. Thinking that the two little guys have an uncle who is younger than them, the scene is quite exciting. The host mother-in-law's pregnancy was detected successfully and she was given 20 billion RMB as a gift. While sighing, the system sound rang in Yi Zan's ears, which made him stunned. What the hell? The mother-in-law is pregnant, how can I give him 20 billion? It has to be said that the system's operation of changing methods to give money is becoming more and more excessive. Then, bring up the properties panel. Name, Yi Zan. Realm, early stage of King Wu. Age, 23 years old. Appearance, MAX, second only to tomato readers. Abilities, God-level driving skills, God-level cooking skills, God-level massage, God-level treasure appraisal, immersive sound, God-level beast control, permanent experience of Kato fingers, omnipotent music, and master of medical skills. Items. D1 number 1 Villa X1, 30 million extended version Bugatti Veyron Thunder gunship. Wealth, 1.395 trillion RMB. Looking at the property panel, Yi Zan's mouth curled up as he gradually became farther and farther away on the road to becoming a trillionaire. It felt really good. Jingle bell bell. As soon as Lin Ningxie returned to the room, Xiao Qian called. This Xiao Chen, she slipped up at the critical moment. What nonsense are you talking about? After listening to someone's words, Sha Bining glared at someone fiercely. Hey, Mr. Sha. After answering the call, Xiao Qian's pleasant voice came from the other side. That Mr. Yi should be here too. I'm sorry, Mr. Sha. I didn't mean to disturb you. Sha Bining. Listening to Xiao Qian's explicit words, Sha Bining's face turned red. Nothing. Warning glanced at someone to tell them to calm down, and then talked to Xiao Qian. What? Soon, Sha Bingning sat up when she heard the news from Xiao Qian. Xiao Qian, you said Jinpeng Group withdrew from Jinling. The news that came made Sha Bining extremely concerned. How could it be? Although Jinpeng Group entered Jinling not long ago, it has invested at least tens of billions. Now it will withdraw its investment if it says that nothing happened. No fool will believe it. The specific reason has not been found yet. After a pause, Xiao Qian continued. But according to the rumors within the Jinpeng Group, it seems that something happened to the person in charge of the Jinpeng Group. Responsible person, something happened. Okay, I get it. After hanging up the phone, Sha Bining frowned, obviously still confused. Husband, what do you think? In fact, what happened here was beyond her expectation. She asked her man. Jinpeng Group divested its capital, isn't that a good thing? He held the beautiful woman in his arms and held the two bears again, causing the beautiful woman to give him an angry look. I just took the opportunity to push the Sha Group to Zhonghai and create a branch. Yi Zan naturally didn't care about this. After all, he was the instigator. Not to mention Zhonghai, it only took him a minute to invade the Sha Group into the imperial capital if he wanted to. Create a branch, are you crazy? Sha Bining was stunned when she heard a certain guy's idea. This guy actually wanted to open a branch of the Sha Group in Zhonghai. What's this? Yi Zan smiled slightly and said, everything depends on your man. Moreover, the the Shah Group has joined the Wanjin Chamber of Commerce. Your man is the founder of the Wanjin Chamber of Commerce. Cut. See what you can do, virtue. After glaring at someone, Xia Bining said seriously, but hubby, are you really planning to let me open a branch in Zhonghai? Good. Yi Zhan nodded slightly. The Zhonghai family's money swiping tool person hasn't finished yet, how can he be taken offline? On the other hand, he also wanted to take the opportunity to see who was behind the Lu family in Zhonghai targeting his own women. Thinking of this, Yi Zhan narrowed his eyes. Zhonghai must do it no matter in public or private. Correct. Yi Zhan then took out a bank card and put it on the double bear. There are 30 billion here, just think that I will fund the establishment of a branch of my family in Zhonghai. What, husband, you, 0.30 billion. Xia Bining picked up the bank card, her pretty face full of disbelief. This is too much money. It used to be 10 billion and now there is still a lot more. You can just take the pocket money your husband gives you. The operation of brushing money cannot be vague. As for withdrawing it, are you kidding? He will only make more, and it is impossible to take it back. Pocket money. Hearing her man's words, Xia Bingning rolled her eyes at him. I would be proud of you doting on me so much. Then be proud. As he spoke, he put his arms around the beautiful woman's slender waist and said, your man is not short of money, so you can buy a property for my future brother-in-law. Sigh. Xia Bining glared at someone. Brother-in-law, how do you know that my mother is pregnant with a son? Certainly, your men are very powerful. But at this time, the beautiful lady Xuangshang had already fallen. Bingning's wife should know this best. I don't know. Xia Bining's face was extremely red and she was really going crazy. What should I do if that guy really wanted to beat him up? Ding. The host consumes 30 billion RMB and gains wealth of 300 billion RMB. While they were flirting, a system sound sounded in Yi Zhan's ears, which made the corners of his mouth curl up. If he were to say that the most beautiful woman in the arms of a money spinning tool was the number one. HMPH. However, the evil smile curled up at the corner of her mouth made Xia Bining roll her eyes. You guys, what bad things are you thinking about? Be honest, otherwise, don't blame me for being rude to you. At the same time as he spoke, Xia Bining appeared with a hand that cut off his descendants, which shocked Yi Zhan. Wife Bingning, you are asking for this. See if your husband doesn't rekindle his relationship today. Kiki, you, husband, I was wrong, Before the beautiful lady finished speaking, her lips were blocked. Fortunately, Yi Zhan had the foresight to use sound isolation. I don't know how much time has passed. Xia Bining snuggled into her man's arms. At this moment, she regretted letting the guy use the ceiling technique. She didn't feel so tired after fighting for such a long time. If this had happened before, I would have fallen asleep countless times. It was so difficult. Honey, are we really going to Zhonghai tomorrow? Hearing what her man said, Xia Bining felt really unsure. Although this guy was very rich and had the support of the Wanjin Chamber of Commerce, the span of establishing a group branch so quickly was really a bit big. Of course, Yi Zhan shaved the face of the beautiful lady and laughed. My husband has made all the arrangements for you during your trip to Zhonghai. However, he didn't know that it didn't matter when he went to Zhonghai, he directly turned Zhonghai's sky upside down. Of course, this is all a story later. The next day, early morning. Wow, Daddy, we are going to Zhonghai to play. After breakfast, Xingxin Tongtong was very excited when she heard that she was going to Zhonghai. Xia Bining glared at someone. This guy may have a more important position in the hearts of the two little guys. China shipping. Hearing this, Xia's father and Uncle Fu looked at each other. They talked a lot yesterday and vaguely guessed Yi Zhan's intention to go to Zhonghai. Go to Zhonghai, it's a good place. After thinking for a moment, Xia's mother continued, by the way, Xiaoyi, have you booked your flights? Do I have someone to book them for you? No, Auntie. The person picking us up should be arriving soon. Just when everyone arrived at the door of the villa, the sound of a helicopter whirred in the air. This is a thunder and lightning gunship. When Uncle Fu saw the helicopter in the sky, he was speechless. He whispered in Father Xia's ear, Master, it is said that this helicopter is worth 300 million, and it will be fine even if it is hit by a cannonball. An armed helicopter worth 300 million. Father Xia's mouth twitched and he looked towards the landing helicopter. That brat was such a spendthrift. Wow, my uncle is so rich. Yeah, I was so arrogant that I just bought a helicopter. I'm so envious. The young lady and the two little ladies are so happy. The maids were chattering, and Sha Bining rolled her eyes. It was obvious that someone had made him stand out again. Grandpa, goodbye Grandma. After getting on the helicopter, Xingxin waved her little hand goodbye and left the manor under the watchful eyes of her father-in-law and her party. It wasn't until they disappeared into the distance that everyone came back to their senses. Sir, is it really okay for my uncle and my lady to go to Zhonghai like this? After pondering for a moment, Uncle Fu expressed his worries. After all, the man behind the Lu family in Zhonghai was targeting his own young lady. No problem. Sha's father pondered for a moment, then looked thoughtfully towards the direction where the helicopter disappeared. As long as Xiaoyi is here, no one in Zhonghai can hurt Bing Ning's hair. Perhaps, that boy is trying to lure out the people behind the Lu family in Zhonghai. Sha's father thought so, but he didn't know that taking Sha Bining to Zhonghai was purely for them to travel, and there was no bait. Half a day later. Zhonghai, Qianjin Restaurant. Hello, Mr. Yi. Hello, madam. When the helicopter landed, the person who greeted him was none other than Mu Hanzu. And unexpectedly, Feng Juyu. Vice President Feng, are you here? After Feng Juyu heard this, he was all smiles. President, I'm here to attend the Zhonghai martial arts auction. It is said that there will be many good things in this auction. I wonder if the president is interested in participating. Martial arts auction. Hearing this, Yi Zhan narrowed his eyes slightly. It sounded like it was a high-end game. If he could participate in it, he would probably earn a lot of money. That's fine. After thinking for a moment, Yi Zhan agreed. Sha Bining couldn't help but roll her eyes at him. This guy was going to be in the limelight again. That's great. After Feng Juyu heard this, his face lit up. I just happened to introduce a good friend to the president. Daddy, I'm going too. And me, Xingxin was chirping, and Yi Zhan lovingly rubbed the heads of the two little guys. Okay, Daddy will take you with me. As night falls, Zhonghai is on the 9th level. Wow. Daddy, it's so beautiful here. After the two little guys got out of the car, their eyes lit up with excitement as they looked at the luxuriously built Juchongtian. Master Yi, you are here. At this moment, Mu Hanzu's voice rang out, and it was obvious that she had been waiting in front of the Nine Heavens Gate for a long time. More than 10 minutes later. Martial arts auction, in the box. Hello, President. Feng Juyu came to the box and greeted him solemnly and respectfully. Sha Bining frowned slightly, apparently hearing him call her man that way again, but due to the occasion, she didn't ask. Yi Zhan smiled slightly, while Mu Hanzu stood behind him and did not dare to sit down. Okay, I'm very happy that you all took the time out of your busy schedule to participate in the Triennial Zhonghai Martial Arts Auction. This time it is hosted by the Zhonghai Martial Arts Association. Thank you for your continued support. Now, let's move on to the first auction item, a mysterious ancient jade. After a pause, the auctioneer on the stage explained, this mysterious ancient jade was accidentally learned by our Martial Arts Association. It has the effect of nourishing the spirit and concealing the legendary martial spirit breath. What? As soon as these words came out, the whole place was in a state of shock. Do you want to warm up your spirit and hide your aura? Oh, hearing this, Yi Zhan's heart moved. This is a good thing. The auction base price for this ancient jade is 1 billion RMB. Each increase in price will not be less than 500 million RMB. The bidding begins. With a bang and a hammer blow, the bidding began. 1 billion. As soon as it fell, someone started bidding. 2 billion. The photographers in the venue took action one after another, while a man in another box took a deep breath. This man was the number one in Zhonghai and was in the Lu family, but his identity was not disclosed at this moment. 5 billion. Lu Chongshan took a deep breath and quoted a price, which was none other than Lu Juyong's second uncle. He narrowed his eyes and said, I must get this thing. With this thing, my Lu family will be able to hook up with that big shot. Only in this way can we make up for Jinling's mistakes and make that big shot dissatisfied. 10 billion. A voice came from another box, and Sha Bining couldn't help but be startled when she heard the voice next to her. Is that guy crazy and he just came to the auction and took action now? Court death. Lu Chongshan's face was gloomy, and his breathtaking eyes fell on the box where Yizan was. Go, find out for me who the boy in the box is. You're so bold to steal something from the Zhongheliu family with me. 11 billion. Lu Chongshan's eyes flashed with sternness. If it weren't for the public right now, he would have killed him long ago. 20 billion. A calm voice came from the box where Yizan was. Click. Lu Zhongshan exerted force in his hands, and the agarwood seat cracked immediately, and then spread to the entire seat. A late-stage martial arts master's aura surged out, but it was quickly restrained. Master Yi, this. Mu Hanzu's eyelids jumped wildly after hearing this. This was the first time she had seen such a bidding. Feng Juyu, who had seen strong winds and waves, was stunned. President, this is really taking money instead of using it. Could it be that this mysterious ancient jade is not simple? Thinking of this, Feng Juyu nodded secretly. It seemed that was the case, but he didn't know that this was not the case at all. The reason why Yizan took action was very simple. It was just 2 words: to make money. Hiss. The auctioneer on the auction stage gasped. Good guy, this is the first time he has seen such a tyrannical owner. In his opinion, if this ancient jade can be auctioned for tens of billions, it is already very good. 20 billion RMB, is there any more? This object allows martial arts masters to hide their aura. Don't miss it. The auctioneer shouted with all his strength, obviously hoping to get a higher price for the ancient jade. However, it was obvious that although the various forces were not short of money, they were not fools either. In this case, 20 billion RMB is the first time. 20 billion RMB for the second time. 20 billion RMB for the third time. With a snap, the final word was finalized, and the auctioneer breathed a sigh of relief. Congratulations to this gentleman for buying the mysterious ancient jade for 20 billion RMB. As soon as this statement came out, the scene was in an uproar. For a moment, the look in Yizan's box changed. He looked so arrogant, and he didn't know who the big shot was in that box. Detect the mysterious ancient jade taken by the host, and give the ancient jade an upgrade to conceal the aura of the king of martial arts. A voice suddenly sounded in his ears, which made Yizan stunned, hiding the aura of King Wu. Good guy, I didn't expect to have an unexpected surprise. So this ancient jade can perfectly hide my aura. Tisk tisk. The system is good. This operation is very good. If this ability is known to everyone, I am afraid that not to mention 20 billion, 30 billion, or even 50 billion will have to fight to the death. President, is it possible that this mysterious ancient jade is extraordinary? Feng Juyu pondered for a moment and finally asked. After all, 20 billion is no small matter. So be it. Yizan smiled slightly, and then handed the ancient jade to Xia Bining. Come on, Nizi, I'll give this to you. Ha! Hearing what her man said, Xia Bing was stunned. Give me this ancient jade. You know, the tears of Guanyin on her neck cost a sky-high price of 8 billion before. Now that the mysterious ancient jade of 20 billion is returned to her, she doesn't have to hold her back even if she loses her fortune. Of course, otherwise why would my husband take pictures of it? Borrowing flowers to offer to the Buddha, Yizan raised an eyebrow, but Mu Hanzu's mouth twitched. Young Master Yi was so arrogant, and he was not an ordinary dote on the young lady. If anyone dares to attack the young madam in the future, I am afraid that Mr. Yi will definitely wipe out all 18 of their clans. You and I. For a moment, Xia Bining was speechless. When she reacted, the ancient jade was already worn on her waist. The moment she put it on, she obviously felt tired and said, "This jade is so effective. Magic." Of course, Xia Bining didn't know that with Tongzi's blessing, the effect of this ancient jade was several times better. Although Shintongtong didn't know what happened, she also realized that Daddy must be super handsome. Ding! The host consumes 20 billion RMB and gains wealth of 200 billion RMB. Listening to the sound of the system ringing in his ears again, the smile on Yizan's lips became even thicker. From Xia Bining's perspective, he looked so handsome, which made his heart beat loudly. However, although 200 billion is a lot, I always feel unsatisfied after 1 trillion. Detect the host's dissatisfaction with the speed of wealth improvement, increase the consumption rebate to 1,000 times permanent. PFF'd. Ahem. Hearing what the system said, Yizan was really choked by Tongzi's sudden an operation. To be honest, he was a little confused at this moment. 1,000 times rebate, good guy. In other words, if the rebates were just upgraded and the 20 billion rebates were 1,000 times greater, that would be 20 trillion. Awesome. Yi Zan was speechless. It felt like he was only a few auctions away from buying the whole world. What is Shenhao? At this moment, Yi Zan felt that Tongzi felt more and more that these two words were well deserved. Compared with the 90 billion gold coins and the invincible gods and supreme beings in the previous life, they are completely insufficient in front of Tongzi now, and not even a second's worth of scum is left. It can be said that the word Shenhao was interpreted vividly by Tongzi. Cool, how can this operation be a wonderful word? The detection host's satisfaction with the system has soared, and 500 billion RMB has been donated. Tongzi's words really made Yi Zan almost choke to the point of entering the palace for the second time. This operation was unprecedentedly cool. Grandma, if the satisfaction soared, he gave away 500 billion RMB. Is Tongzi going crazy? Yi Zan, are you okay? Seeing that her man was choked to death, Sha Bining hurriedly asked with concern. Ahem, that's all, it's okay. Yi Zan waved his hand. Even if he told the truth at this moment, he would probably be regarded as a delusional patient by the beautiful lady. Joke, how would you react if someone closest to you told you that you were given 500 billion as a gift? It's just that someone gave me some money. Yi Zan breathed a sigh of relief and said casually. Send you money. Sha Bining glanced at her man suspiciously, obviously not understanding what she meant. The auction continues until the final auction item is reached. Okay, let's move on to the last auction item. As soon as these words came out, everyone turned their attention to the auction table, because many of them came here for this mysterious final lot. Wow, at this moment, a cage appeared on the auction stage, and inside the cage was a little girl, about 7 or 8 years old, unkempt but still unable to hide her handsome face. However, there was a faint murderous aura on her body that was heart-stopping, and the little girl's condition was completely wrong. This is a forbidden body. Seeing Yi Zan on the auction stage, there was disbelief on his face. According to his medical skills, this physique is said to be jealous of heaven and earth, or it should not appear in the world. Good guy, you have found a treasure. On the auction stage, the auctioneer was full of fear. Even though he was a martial arts master, he took a deep breath and said, I believe you have noticed that this little girl has a mysterious identity. She is a master of Miao martial arts who entrusted me to auction her at the auction. Grand Master of Martial Arts. Good guy, no wonder this little girl can be subdued, but I'm afraid this little girl will make an astronomical number of photos next. The auctioneer on the stage smiled. Next, the auction of the mysterious little girl with no reserve price begins. As the voice fell, the audience was stunned. The auction without reserve price seemed to be very confident for this lot. 1 billion, 3 billion, all parties are bidding, and the eyes of the little girl in the cage are murderous and full of fear. Even though she has a special physique, she is still just a child. Daddy, the little sister is so pitiful. I must be so scared. Shintong looked at the little girl in the cage with unbearable eyes. Ahem, President. Feng Juyu coughed dryly and continued, this little girl is not simple. I'm afraid it will fetch an unprecedented high price today. 10 billion. As soon as Feng Juyu finished speaking, a voice came from Yi Zan's mouth. Sha Bining wanted to say something, but the little girl who looked at the auction table full of uneasiness said nothing. Wow. As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes fell on the box where Yi Zan was, and the person in the box took action again. 15 billion. But at the same time, a cold snort came from the box where Lu Chongshan was sitting. This mysterious little girl was the main reason for him to participate in the auction. 20 billion. However, Yi Zan's calm voice came out again, which made Lu Chongshan's eyes look murderous. The boy was sincerely opposing him. 21 billion. The hoarse old man's voice came from another box, which made Lu Chongshan's heart sink again. Although they were the first family in Zhonghai, there were not many people in China who could destroy their Lu family. The feeling that that person gave him was probably the great master of martial arts. 30 billion. Yi Zan's voice sounded again, and everyone's eyes changed when they looked at his box. What a great martial arts master, he dared to bid. Is that kid crazy? In the end, Yi Zan paid 30 billion to take a picture of the mysterious little girl. Seeing this, Lu Chongshan narrowed his eyes flashed and he didn't know what he was thinking. 30 billion, Mr. Yi, spent another 30 billion. When Mu Hanzu saw this, she couldn't help but take a breath. How rich is Mr. Yi? This auction alone cost 50 billion. Soon, the mysterious little girl was taken to the box, but her hands and feet were chained. Although the little girl is not strong, her attack power is not small. Hanzu, help her untie the chains. Looking at the little girl in front of him, Yi Zan smiled slightly, and then threw a portion of the physical enhancement liquid to the little girl. Drink it, it will help you. Wow, Mu Hanzu had already helped the little girl untie the iron chain. The mysterious little girl looked at Yi Zan warily, and then looked at the medicine in her hand. It seemed that her mouth was dry, so the little girl swallowed the saliva and drank it. In an instant, the little girl felt that the injuries from the beating by Miao Yang's captor were recovering at a visible speed, which made her look at Yi Zan in surprise. This adult seems to be different from others. May I have your name? Yi Zan looked at the little girl in front of him and asked warmly. He must have gone through a lot of hardships at such a young age. My name is Meng Qianqiu. The little girl answered with fear and trepidation. After all, the so-called murderous aura was caused by the taboo body being out of control, and she was only a 7 or 8-year-old child. Nice name. Yi Zan looked at Meng Qianqiu and continued, how about being my apprentice? As long as I'm here, no one can bully you from now on. Feng Juyu was startled when he heard this. The president is going to accept this little guy as his disciple. Sir, you want to accept me as your apprentice? Meng Qianqiu's eyes widened with ripples in her eyes. She had no relatives since she was born. Haha, if you don't want to, forget it. Thump. Before Yi Zan finished speaking, he fell to his knees on the ground. Qianqiu has met the master. Ahem, this little guy is quite clever. Feng Juyu coughed dryly. Unbeknownst to others, he knew very well that no one would dare to harm the little girl after this bow. Joke. This is how he treats an outsider, let alone his own apprentice. Get up. Yi Zan raised his hand slightly and rubbed Meng Qianqiu's head lovingly. Whoever dares to touch you from now on, master will destroy him. Meng Qianqiu raised her pretty face and showed a smile. It was obvious that she would grow up to be a beautiful woman. This is your junior wife, and these are your 2 junior sisters. Hello, master. Hello, little junior sister. Xia Bining was stunned when she heard this, but looked at the pitiful Meng Qianqiu and said softly, we will be your relatives from now on. Thank you, master. Hearing Xia Bining's words, Meng Qianqiu's tears couldn't stop falling, which made Xia Bining feel even more distressed. Little sister, don't cry. I'll give you toys to play with. Yeah, I have a lot of candy. The 2 little guys were chattering, which made Meng Qianqiu peck at the rice and nod his head. This scene made Feng Juyu sigh. Fortunately, the president took a photo of this little girl, otherwise his future and fate would be uncertain. Ding. The host consumes 30 billion RMB and gains wealth of 30 trillion RMB. Listening to the sound of the system ringing in his ears, Yi Zan narrowed his eyes. It seemed that it would be much easier to make money after the rebate upgrade. Then, bring up the properties panel. Name, Yi Zan. Realm, early stage of King Wu. Age, 23 years old. Appearance, MAX, second only to tomato readers. Abilities, God-level driving skills, God-level cooking skills, God-level massage, God-level treasure appraisal, immersive sound, God-level beast control, permanent experience of Kato fingers, omnipotent music, and master of medical skills. Items. D1 number 1 Villa X1, 30 million extended version Bugatti Veyron Thunder gunship. Wealth, 32.45 trillion RMB. Looking at the attribute panel and thinking about today's auction results, it can be said that I have gained a lot, and the future is really exciting. Master, thank you. Meng Qianqiu took a deep breath and looked at Yi Zan gratefully. She knew that the master had given her a new life. What are you thankful for? Yi Zan waved his hand, then smiled and said, there is no need to be restrained in front of master from now on. Meng Qianqiu's face showed a bright smile that she had never seen before. She felt so happy, and she even thanked the bad guy Miao Zhang for auctioning her off, otherwise she would not have met the master. This guy. Seeing someone's actions, Sha Bining couldn't help but roll her eyes at him. This guy really took on an apprentice, not a daughter. The auction ends and all parties leave. President. After pondering for a moment, Feng Juyu bowed slightly. I have a good friend who introduced you to me, do you think? Oh, hearing Feng Juyu's words, Yi Zan was stunned for a moment, then nodded. Bing Ning, you guys stay here for a while and I'll come when I go. Good. Sha Bining knew that her man's identity was unusual, so she nodded. Daddy, you have to come back soon. Xin Shentongtong, who was whispering to the little sister, looked at her daddy and said. Yi Zan rubbed the heads of the two little guys, and Feng Juyu left the field. Soon, I arrived at the deep room in Juchongtian. Squeak. The door opened, and there was already a person waiting for a long time. It was obvious that Feng Juyu had been breathing for a long time. Half-step martial arts master. Looking at the people in the room, Yi Zan felt their strength. It can be said that this strength is the top existence in Zhonghai. Brother Feng, long time no see. Luo Tianhe saw Feng Juyu saying hello, and then his eyes fell on Yi Zan. This should be the president of Wanjin Chamber of Commerce. President. Feng Juyu nodded slightly and introduced. This is my good friend, Luo Tianhe, the president of the Zhonghai Martial Arts Association. Oh, hearing Feng Juyu's words, Yi Zan understood a little, but then said deeply, it turns out to be President Luo. But, after a pause, Yi Zan continued, has President Luo been seriously injured by a half-step martial arts master in his early years? What? When Feng Juyu heard this, he was dumbfounded. His eyes fell on his friend in disbelief. What kind of joke was this half-step martial arts master kidding? He has known Luo Tianhe for 10 years, and if others say this, he will naturally not believe it, but the president is a different matter. After all, the president is a being who transcends the Grand Master. Hiss. Even Luo Tianhe himself couldn't help but take a breath, and then looked at Yi Zan with a change in his eyes. President Yi, you are indeed extraordinary. To be honest, it's true. With a bang, Feng Juyu's pupils suddenly shrank when he heard his friend admit it in person. Brother Luo, what are you doing? President Yi, I was indeed seriously injured by a half-step martial arts master 10 years ago, and that person is now. Speaking of this, Luo Tianhe's eyes flashed with murderous light. I'm afraid he is already a strong martial artist. Feng Juyu was extremely shocked and looked at Luo Tianhe, his friend of 10 years, in shock. He didn't expect that his friend of many years would have such a secret. Now, is it very possible to become an enemy of the martial spirit? I am afraid, only the president can compete with this kind of enemy. Certainly, Feng Juyu didn't know that Yi Zan was now in the realm of the king of martial arts. He didn't know what his reaction would be if he knew about it. Martial spirit. Yi Zan looked at Luo Tianhe opposite, obviously not paying attention to this, but thought for a moment. Luo Tianhe, I want to give you a chance to serve me. As a benefit, I can solve your hidden illness. Really? When Luo Tianhe heard this, his heart was shocked, and he knelt on the ground without thinking. Sir, if you can cure Tianhe's hidden disease, this life will be yours from now on. This. Feng Juyu was stunned when he saw this. Originally, he just wanted to introduce his friends to the president and let Wanjin Chamber of Commerce develop rapidly. He never thought that things would turn into this. Take this medicine. When he turned his right hand, a portion of physical enhancement liquid appeared, and Luo Tianhe hesitated for a moment before taking it. Then, with a flip of his right hand, dozens of golden needles suddenly appeared, and then they were inserted into various major points all over Luo Tianhe's body using mysterious techniques. Although Feng Juyu didn't understand medical skills, he could see that this technique was extraordinary. Soon, changes occurred in the field. I saw black energy surging above the golden needle, and the black energy made a sizzling sound after it emerged in the air. Obviously, the hidden illness mentioned by my president was not that simple. Buzz. At this moment, Luo Tianhe's aura increased at a visible speed, and he successfully reached the realm of a martial arts master. A few minutes later, Luo Tianhe opened his eyes and felt the surging energy in his body. This is the middle stage of the martial arts Grand Master. Thump. Luo Tianhe knelt on his knees, with excitement on his face. Sir, if you recreate Tianan's grace, Tianhe will never forget it. Get up. Yi Zan raised his hand slightly. It was not bad to accept such a subordinate on this trip. From now on, sir, just call me President like Vice President Feng. Yes, President. Luo Tianhe bowed respectfully and secretly decided that he would repay his kindness 100-fold if there was a chance in the future. Tianhe, I want to create a Wanjin Chamber of Commerce branch in Zhonghai. From now on, you will serve as the president of the Zhonghai branch. Thinking about the future of Wanjin Chamber of Commerce, Yizan thought for a moment and said, Wanjin Chamber of Commerce branch. Hearing this, Feng Juyu's mouth twitched slightly. Good guy. The president's operation was at least 2 or 3 years earlier than he thought. Correct. Luo Tianhe thought of something and bowed. President, the person who had a conflict with you at the auction was actually Lu Chongshan, the second master of the Lu family in Zhonghai. What? After Feng Juyu heard this, he narrowed his eyes. It's the Lu family of Zhonghai again. In Jinling, that boy from the Lu family targeted the president's wife. We are really enemies of each other. When Luo Tianhe heard this, he thought of something. Madam President, is it possible? Obviously Luo Tianhe realized something. President, the Lu family and Lu Juyang were not destroyed by you, right? Ahem. Lu Juyang is dead. Feng Juyu almost choked on his spit when he heard this. Good guy, the president cut off the only seedling of the Lu family in Zhonghai without saying a word. If the Lu family knew about this, the whole of Zhonghai would be turned upside down. President, do you need me to have Lu Chongshan and others killed? Luo Tianhe thought for a moment and said, the president has been so kind to me and he is worried about how to repay him. No, I'll do it myself. Yizan looked towards the 9 heavens in the distance and murmured. Detect the host's strong will to destroy the enemy, and grant the soul-searching technique. Note, this technique can spy on all the memories of the person being casted. Soul-searching. Hearing the sound of the system, Yizan narrowed his eyes. This technique would definitely save a lot of trouble. Half a quarter of an hour later, in a dark place outside the 9 heavens. What did you say? Hearing what his subordinates said, Lu Chongshan was filled with surprise. That boy is from Jinling, and the woman accompanying him is Sha Bining, whom the Lord wants to pay attention to. It really takes no effort to get through the iron shoes and find nowhere. After a pause, he continued with a sharp look in his eyes. In that case, let's take them all together. Yeah, at this moment, a voice came from the side. The person who came was none other than Yizan. From the moment he appeared, Lu Chongshan was destined to die. The Lu family of Zhonghai is so loud. The plain voice sounded in the ears of Lu Chongshan and others, but they looked towards the opposite side in shock. Second master, he is that boy. A member of the Lu family was shocked, pointing at Yizan and saying in disbelief. You can tell. The moment Yizan spoke, he recognized it. The voice turned into ashes and he recognized it. After all, that boy was the first person to dare to disobey him in these years. Then, 2 figures appeared next to Yizan, Feng Juyu and Luo Tianhe. Luo Tianhe, as the mysterious president of Zhonghai, never showed up on weekdays. Lu Chongshan did not recognize him. Of course, Luo Tianhe did this to avoid revenge. What a good boy, how dare you steal something from the Zhonghai family from me? With a cold smile, the martial arts master beside Lu Chongshan punched Yizan with a punch. Second master, I will destroy this kid first. Tisk. The speed was so fast that Feng Juyu's face was full of ridicule. President, be careful. Luo Tianhe looked solemn, worried and warned aloud, but Feng Juyu smiled and said, Brother Luo, don't worry, no matter how 10 times stronger this person is, he will not be a match for the president. Arrogant. The martial arts master of the Lu family, perfect master, snorted coldly, saying he was 10 times stronger. Does that guy know what that means? But at this moment, Yizan flicked his finger and a ray of energy shot out. Pretending to be a ghost. Lu Chongshan looked at Yizan's actions with disdain. Could it be that the boy was frightened out of his wits? Didn't he know that the one who attacked him was the perfect martial arts master? Bang! However, before Lu Chongshan had time to think about it, he stared at the field with wide eyes. He was proud of the Lu family's martial arts master, the perfect master, but he exploded and died. What? Lu Chongshan's eyelids were twitching wildly. The master of martial arts, a perfect master, was actually killed into a blood mist by that guy with a snap of his finger. That guy, what is his strength? Feng Juyu was dumbfounded as he watched his president operate. Mr. President, you are so powerful. Is it possible that this is the terrifying strength of the legendary martial arts master? So strong. Luo Tianhe swallowed his saliva, and was extremely shocked. Even now, as a martial arts master in his late stage, he is far from being able to do this, and even the elder of the Xia family who wiped out their entire Luo family might not be able to do this. A strong martial artist. Luo Tianhe narrowed his eyes, but he was shocked that the president, who was only in his early 20s, was actually stronger than the enemy who destroyed his family 10 years ago. I am afraid, even now, the enemy who destroyed their Luo family back then may not be the president's opponent. Thinking of this, Luo Tianhe was extremely excited. Follow this lord, and in the future, the revenge of the Luo family's destruction will definitely be avenged. Joke. A strong martial artist in his 20s. What does this mean? Absolutely invincible at the same level. You, impossible. Lu Chongshan's face was full of disbelief, and he looked at Yizan in horror. Master of martial arts, how can you be so strong? Anyone who targets old women should deserve death. Yizan glanced at Lu Chongshan and said with a smile, if your Lu family had not been useful, your Lu family would have been destroyed the moment Jinpeng Group entered Jinling. After all, such a high-level money-spinning tool owner wants to squeeze out every last bit of value. Jinpeng Group, you. When Lu Chongshan heard this, his eyes widened and he realized something. You killed Juyang. What are you going to do? Don't come here. I'm warning you that my Lu family is the #1 family in Zhonghai. You dare to touch me? No, let me go. I promise that the Juyang matter will not be pursued again. Ha! Yizan's right hand fell on Lu Chongshan's head, and a mysterious force enveloped his head, and even his whole body was imprisoned. He could not even bite his tongue to commit suicide. Ah, what did you do to me? Lu Chongshan had a splitting headache and felt like his soul was being torn apart. His shrill screams were chilling, but Yizan's hand seal was immediately enveloped by sound insulation. Oh my goodness, that second master of the Lu family is so miserable. Swallowing his saliva, Feng Juyu felt chills all over his body. Grandma, what kind of cruel method did Mr. President use to actually make the dignified second master of the Lu family scream in such a way that his life was worse than death? After a while, thump, the second master of the Lu family died on the spot, and was swatted into a mist of blood by Yizan like a fly. However, his eyebrows furrowed. The ancestors of my father-in-law's family actually came from the hidden Xia family. Kill all the remaining members of the Lu family. He frowned slightly, but then he stopped paying attention. Luo Tianhe, who had been waiting for a long time, hurriedly responded, yes, President. Tisk. The figure flashed, and the next moment more than 10 people from the Lu family were killed instantly. After all, compared to Luo Tianhe's current strength as a middle-level martial arts master, the Lu family were too weak. Lao Luo, you are too fast. Feng Juyu, who was about to take action, looked at his friend with a grudge, trying to leave him with a fault. Correct. Thinking about the scene just now, Feng Juyu swallowed. President, what method did you use just now? After hearing Feng Juyu's words, Luo Tianhe also looked over. In fact, the scene just now was far beyond his understanding. Soul-searching technique. Yizan smiled carelessly. The effect was pretty good, a technique that can search the memory of the person being cast. I'm going. Feng Juyu swallowed his saliva. Just hearing the name made him feel cold all over. Luo Tianhe's eyes flashed with a bright light. He didn't expect the president to even have such a technique. It seems that the president's mystery is far beyond my imagination. I'm afraid, even the hidden family cannot cultivate such outstanding children. Has the president found out who is behind the Lu family in Zhonghai? Luo Tianhe asked with concern. After all, this was a major matter related to the president's wife, and it was the fastest way for him to repay his kindness. Got. Yizan nodded and did not hide anything. From the hidden Xia family, Shahichu is now one of the 4 heroes of the Xia family. The hidden Xia family. Hearing this name, Luo Tianhe's eyes flashed with a killing light. Apparently she never expected that the person who coveted the president's wife was actually one of the 4 elites of the reclusive Xia family. The hidden Xia family. Feng Juyu's expression changed drastically, and his eyes were full of disbelief. President, that hidden family is said to exist above the 4 major families in the imperial capital. Legend has it that every hidden family has the power to destroy the 4 major families in the imperial capital. Yi Zan nodded slightly and looked in the direction of Jinling. Bingning's ancestors are from the hidden Xia family. Hearing this, Feng Juyu's expression changed. It seems that the hidden world family has spent so much effort targeting the earthly branches. It seems that the water is deep. Thinking of the beautiful woman, Yi Zan narrowed his eyes. If he dared to touch his own woman, he didn't care about any hidden family, and they would all be destroyed by then. Zhu Chongtian, box, Papa, Daddy is back. When Xin Shintongtong saw Daddy coming back, her face was full of excitement, and then she pouted her cute little mouth. It's been so long. Haha, we talked about something. He skillfully picked up the 2 little guys and doted on them. I miss you, Daddy. Let Daddy see how much you miss them. Mwah. The 2 little guys were affectionate. Mu Hanzu's mouth curved when she saw this. Young Master Yi couldn't help but dote on the 2 young ladies. These 3 men. Xia Bining rolled her eyes at the 3 of them. She felt sour for some reason. Is it really good to spread shit like this in front of so many people? Meng Qianqiu stood aside, looking at his beloved master and 2 junior sisters, his eyes full of envy. After feeling tired, Yi Zan's eyes fell on Meng Qianqiu. Chiaki, master. When Meng Qianqiu heard his master calling him, he responded hurriedly. Next, I'll help you control your murderous intent. The process may be a little painful, so bear with it. Okay, master. Meng Qianqiu was overjoyed when she heard that she was regarded as an outlier because of her uncontrollable killing intent. Thinking about her past experience of inferiority, she bit her lip and could endure it no matter how painful it was. Then, Yi Zan used dozens of golden needles to penetrate Meng Qianqiu's various major points, especially the dantian area, which was pricked by dozens of golden needles. Seeing the scene in front of her, Xia Bining was stunned, because this acupuncture method was the same as sealing the cold air in her body before, but why didn't this guy let Qianqiu take off her clothes? Could it be that that guy did it on purpose? Thinking of this, Xia Bining couldn't help but glare at a certain bad guy. How could that guy do this? However, she mistakenly blamed her man. After all, it was the first time Yi Zan used the ban technique, so he didn't have much confidence. Buzz. Then, the killing intent emitted by Meng Qianqiu restrained itself at a visible speed, and a strong aura surged out. This is a half-step martial arts master. Feng Juyu's eyes widened and he looked at the president's new disciple with disbelief. A half-step martial arts master who is 7 or 8 years old. Master Yi, what a powerful acupuncture technique. Mu Hanzu looked at the little girl in front of her with incredible eyes. No wonder Mr. Yi did not hesitate to take a picture of her, she turned out to be so extraordinary. Thank you, master. Meng Qianqiu's eyes were full of gratitude and she knelt down on the ground, because she really had no murderous intention in her body. This was definitely the best gift for her. Silly girl, what are you grateful for? Yi Zan helped Meng Qianqiu up, rubbed his head and said with a smile, which made Meng Qianqiu's eyes rippling. It turned out that this feeling was so comfortable. Under the impression, Yi Zan was speechless. Although this little guy was only a half-step martial arts master, it would not be a problem to kill a martial arts master with his urgent physique. He was a completely human killing machine. Detect the host's forbidden body, and reward the forbidden power and realm to be upgraded to the middle stage of the martial king. Note: the forbidden power is immune to all special physical damage and can confine space. Listening to the voice coming from the system, Yi Zan was stunned for a moment. Has he achieved a breakthrough? I haven't heard this voice for a long time, but why is it that in the middle stage of King Wu, although the power of the ban is very awesome, the realm seems to stretch a lot? According to past practice, why should I be at the peak of King Wu? Detecting that the host is dissatisfied with the system's improvement, the system is under reflection. Ding! The system has upgraded the wealth function. In the future, the host can use wealth to improve the realm. Note: there is no cap on the realm of improvement. PFF. Ahem. The sudden operation almost caused Yi Zan to twist his waist and spurt out a mouthful of tea. I knock. Improving the realm of wealth. Moreover, the most important thing is that there is no ceiling, which means that as long as his wealth is enough, his realm can be promoted to the sky. Master, are you okay? When Meng Qianzhou saw his master being choked, he hurried forward, his eyes full of worry. This girl, Xia Bining looked at Meng Qianzhou and felt that this girl had more and more potential as a little cotton-padded jacket. How could this happen? The two little guys already made her quite jealous, and here comes another one. I can't imagine the scene. But, this poor little guy is really hard to discuss. President, walk slowly. Feng Juyu respectfully sent his president off. He didn't let out a sigh of relief until the supercar disappeared. The scene that just happened appeared before his eyes like a movie. At night, in the hotel room. Look at you, your daughters are satisfied now. The beautiful lady came to the room wrapped in a bath towel. She looked particularly charming under the warm yellow light. She glanced at someone and said something. How? He took the beautiful woman in his arms and pinched her delicate face fondly. My wife Bing Ning is jealous. Go go, only ghosts are jealous, but I'm not. Xia Bining's face turned red after being exposed. She was just a little envious, not jealous, just a little envious. Yeah, come, let me see if my wife Bing Ning is jealous. I don't know how much time has passed. Xia Bining leaned into her man's arms, enjoying the tranquility, beauty and tenderness. Correct. Leaning in someone's arms, he rolled his eyes at the guy who was causing trouble at Shuangshang. Why did that Vice President Feng call you president? Is he from the Wanjin Chamber of Commerce? Yi Zan nodded slightly and said indifferently, I am the president of Wanjin Chamber of Commerce. What's wrong with him calling me president? What did you say? Xia Bining was stunned after hearing this and looked at someone in surprise. President of Wanjin Chamber of Commerce, so Wanjin Chamber of Commerce belongs to you. So be it. Listening to a certain guy's words, Xia Bining rolled her eyes at him. This guy was useless except for being a prodigal, even though this guy's prodigal level exceeded 99.9999999% of people. A little gentle, the beautiful lady drifted into sleep. Correct. Looking at Ching Chung's charming face, Yi Zan thought of something. How about trying the effect of wealth on improving one's realm? The cost of detecting the host is 1 trillion RMB, and the level has been upgraded to the late stage of King Wu. It costs 10 trillion yuan to detect the host, and the level is raised to the peak of King Wu. As his wealth was consumed, a very strong aura surged around Yi Zan's body. The level was astonishingly the peak of King Wu. If outsiders saw it, they would definitely be shocked. As King Wu at his peak. Feeling the breath, Yi Zan was speechless and sighed. It is worthy of the wealth of the Shenhao system to be able to play like this, but it seems not bad. The next day, early morning. Golden sunlight poured into the room and reflected on an incredibly beautiful face. This beauty that dimmed the light was none other than Xia Bining. After struggling for a while, the beautiful woman finally woke up and saw the handsome face of her own man. That guy is actually the president of the Wanjin Chamber of Commerce. I wonder how much money he spent. Thinking of this, Xia Bining couldn't help but sigh. The more she got in touch with him, she found that the guy seemed to have endless money to spend. Jingle bell bell. Hey, Mr. Xia, are you up? As soon as the call was connected, Xiao Qian's pleasant voice came from the other side. Xia Bining's face was slightly dizzy when she heard these words. Did she get up? She didn't get up yet, and someone was controlling the two bears. Not yet, what's the matter? Naturally, Xia Bining won't talk much and goes straight to the topic. You have to know that there is a guy beside her. As time goes by, you may not know what kind of trouble he will make. That's right, Mr. Xia, I checked the address you asked me to check for the group branch. After a pause, Xiao Qian from the opposite side continued. China Overseas Xuangrong building was just opened a few days ago. It is particularly suitable for both location and location. Okay, thank you for your hard work. After chatting for a while, he hung up the phone and rolled his eyes at someone who had already woken up. Husband, I won't accompany you today as I go to see the location of the branch group. Selecting a location for the branch group. Hearing this, Yi Zan keenly sensed an opportunity to make money. How can such an important thing be done without my husband by my side? My husband will go with you today. Xia Bining. You want to come with me? After a pause, Xia Bining frowned. What should we do with those two little guys? This is simple. Isn't Qianzhou here? They are both half-step martial arts masters now, and Qianjin restaurant belongs to your husband. Do you still have to worry about their safety? This, too. Sha Bining nodded slightly when she heard someone's words. Correct. Yizan noticed the aura of the beauty in his arms. As expected of my Bing Ning, this is the late martial arts master. HMPH. That's right, it doesn't matter who I am. Sha Bining said proudly. I wonder what Sha's father would think if he knew the strength of his precious daughter at this moment. Hey, my wife Bing Ning is getting more and more powerful. Half a day later, Zhonghai Shuangrong building, in front of the sales office. It's all your fault, it almost delayed the business. Before arriving at the sales office, Sha Bining glared at a certain guy. Thinking about what happened that morning, she wanted to beat him to death. Blame me, Nizi, doesn't your conscience hurt when you say this? Yizan was innocent and continued. I won't take the blame for this, but you still blame me for letting me continue. HMPH. Sha Bining snorted, then got out of the car and ignored someone, because she really wanted to bite him to death if she went further. Welcome, sir and madam, how can I help you? Entering the sales hall, several welcoming ladies spoke sweetly. After all, those who have the courage to enter their sales office are not ordinary people. Cousin. At this moment, a familiar voice came, and then Chen Ying appeared in front of her. It was her cousin Lu Xueqi. You are. Seeing my cousin wearing sales office clothes, I couldn't help but be stunned. You work part-time here. Hey, yeah. Chen Xueqi smiled and posed. Pretty, cousin, this is my first job during the holidays. Sister-in-law, she is more beautiful than last time. Chen Xueqi then looked at her sister-in-law. She didn't expect to meet her cousin and cousin-in-law in Zhonghai. The same to you. Sha Bining looked at the quirky Chen Xueqi in front of her, showing a charming smile, which made Chen Xueqi envious. She would be like her sister-in-law when she grew up, and she could wake up from her dreams with a smile. By the way, cousin, why are you and sister-in-law here? Chen Xueqi then asked curiously. Of course she was not short of money and came to work purely for experience. I heard that Shuangrong building is open for sale. Your sister-in-law and I are planning to buy it and use it as a branch of the Sha Group. Ha! Chen Xueqi was stunned when she heard her cousin's words. Of course she knew that her sister-in-law was the daughter of the Sha Group. My sister-in-law's group is going to open a branch, which is great. However, cousin, this Shuangrong building is extremely expensive, are you sure? Xueqi. At this moment, the sales office supervisor came over and Chen Xueqi said, Director Luo, this is my cousin. He said he wanted to take a look at the Shuangrong building that just opened. Oh, hearing Chen Xueqi's words, Manager Luo narrowed his eyes. It turns out to be cousin Xueqi. It seems that he is not an outsider. I wonder, sir, do you want to rent or buy? Purchase. Yizan didn't even think about it. How could he rent such a good opportunity to make money? As expected, Director Luo's eyes lit up when he heard this. Real. I don't know how many floors you are going to buy, sir. Manager Luo took a deep breath. You must know that the price of one floor alone can be tens of millions, and even hundreds of millions. As the land in Zhonghai is high, the price is very reasonable. How many floors? Yizan looked at the miniature sand table and rubbed his chin. How much does a Shuangrong building cost? PFF. When my cousin heard what she said, she almost choked on her own spit, and Director Luo even twitched the corner of his mouth fiercely. Cousin, you want to buy the whole building? Swallowing her saliva, Chen Xueqi directly quoted the lowest internal price. The sales office estimates that the entire building will cost 8.8 billion, which is an astronomical figure. Yes sir, the lowest price of the entire Shuangrong building is indeed 8.8 billion. I think you might as well buy a few floors first. Before Director Luo finished speaking, Yizan immediately made the decision. It's only 8.8 billion, I'll buy it. Xueqi, help me swipe my card. Ah, Chen Xueqi's eyes widened and she looked at her cousin in disbelief. Cousin, you really want to buy the entire Shuangrong building? What? Hearing Chen Xueqi's scream, everyone in the entire sales hall looked over, and then looked at Yizan. Their eyes changed. That guy, is he so willful? Beep. After swiping the card, Chen Xueqi felt like she was in a dream. Her cousin bought the entire Shuangrong building, and she did it by herself. To know, she estimated that the commission alone was worth tens of millions. My cousin must have doted on my sister-in-law too much. You see, you can't keep a low profile. Feeling the attention of the people, Xia Bining glared at someone. Is it crazy to buy the entire building for 8.8 billion? Fine. Chongpan pinched the beautiful lady's face and said proudly, my husband is not short of this little money. Sweet dog food is instantly filling every corner of the sales hall, especially the fair-skinned and beautiful lady in the sales office, whose eyes are full of stars. Why do good men belong to other people? Ding. The host consumes 8.8 billion RMB and gains wealth of 8.8 trillion RMB. After taking the bank card, Yi Zhan heard the rebates in his ears. As expected, he made a small fortune. A quarter of an hour later. Mr. Yi, here is the purchase contract and the key. Please keep them. Manager Luo bowed respectfully. This was their biggest customer in front of him, so he naturally did not dare to offend him at all. She took the contract and the key and handed them to Xia Bining, which made her cousin next to her envious. If it wasn't for work, she would have broadcast live for fans to witness this moment. Correct. Manager Luo thought about something and asked tentatively, Mr. Yi, my boss still has nearly 1 million acres of land for sale in the suburbs of Jinling. Do you need it? Oh, hearing Director Luo's words, Yi Zhan narrowed his eyes. He said, 1 million acres of land is equivalent to the size of a small city. If you can buy it, you will definitely make a lot of money. Yi Zhan, you. Xia Bining looked at her man's eyes and felt something bad in her heart. As expected, before Xia Bining had time to think about it, her man had already made up his mind. 1 million acres, are you sure to sell them all? Ahem, cousin, what are you doing? Chen Xueqi was dumbfounded. Oh my god, my cousin still wants to buy it. 1 million acres of land, as the top student of Jinling number 1 middle school, she certainly knew that it was an extremely big thing. Xueqi, you take your sister-in-law to visit Xuanrong building, and I'll go to the suburbs to have a look. Xia Bining. Real. Before Xia Bining could speak, Manager Luo was extremely excited. Mr. Yi, I will take you there right away. Xueqi, stay with Ms. Xia. Supervisor, Before he could recover, Manager Luo had already left the sales department with Yi Zhan. Sister-in-law, where are we? Chen Xueqi swallowed her saliva and looked at her sister-in-law in confusion. Go and see the building, regardless of your cousin. Xia Bining glanced at the direction someone was leaving inside. Since she couldn't control it, just let him go. This is Lamborghini, son of the devil. On the other side, Director Luo swallowed his saliva when he came to the supercar. It was said that it was worth at least hundreds of millions, so he was so arrogant. Mr. Yi, please. Very discerning, he opened the car door and bowed. I'll drive. Joke. Of course I do this kind of burdensome work myself. After all, I am the one who does big things. Buzz. Stepping on the accelerator, the sound of the engine made Manager Luo's heart beat wildly. The super strong push on the back was very comfortable, and it was worthy of a luxury car worth hundreds of millions. Correct. To prevent the atmosphere from being awkward, Manager Luo asked in a talkative manner, Mr. Yi, I wonder what you are going to do after buying 1 million acres of land. It's nothing. Yi Zhan thought for a moment and said casually, we are going to build a stone gambling den, surrounded by supporting shopping malls, accommodation, schools, etc. We will build whatever is needed. PFF. Cough cough. Director Luo's lips twitched when he heard this. Good guy, is this boss going to build a small city? Really? As expected, there is a powerful person who bought the 8.8 billion building without blinking an eye. At this moment, he even felt that the million acres of land belonged to the big boss in front of him. Soon, Jinling Suburban Villa. Second Master, Director Luo is here. In the villa, an old man bowed and reported to the middle-aged man next to him, and the aura of this old man clearly had the strength of a martial arts master. Oh, the middle-aged man frowned slightly, and the faint aura exuding from his body was also extraordinary. He was a half-step martial arts master. His name was Ji Haoshan, the second master of the Ji family, one of the 4 major families in the imperial capital. Although the Zhonghai Lu family is the overlord of this land, if they want to destroy it, it is just a matter of Ji Haoshan's words. His identity is also the reason why he can easily hold millions of acres of land in the suburbs of Jinling. Lamborghini Demon Son. Ji Haoshan looked at the displayed screen and looked at Yi Zhan deeply. this young man is not simple. Uncle Lei, check him out. A little while later, Biyuan living room. Boss. Manager Luo bowed respectfully when he saw Queen Zhai. He knew that his boss was extremely powerful and was said to be a big shot in the imperial capital. Of course, he, a small person like him, couldn't know who he was. And he didn't even dare to investigate privately. After all, if his boss knew about it, he might not even know how he died. Even the Zhongheliu family wouldn't be able to do anything in front of his boss. Yizan also realized that Jihoshin and Jihoshin were extraordinary, especially the old man beside him, who was actually a martial arts master, but this was not important to him. After hearing the explanation, Jihoshin looked at Yizan. This little friend wants to buy 1,000,000 acres of land in the suburbs. Even Uncle Lei next to him was full of surprise. After all, millions of acres of land had been put up for sale for many days, but no one was interested. But there is nothing wrong with it. After all, the suburbs are too remote. Little friend, what if you really want to buy it for 35 billion? Jihoshin didn't say much, and directly stated the lowest price he could afford. After all, this piece of land was a bit useless in his hands. Director Luo's lips twitched when he heard this. The price of 35 billion is enough to be worth 4 Shuangrong buildings. Yizan smiled in his heart after hearing this. This amount of money seems to be a huge fortune. Haha, my little friend seems to be a cheerful person. Jihoshin was stunned. Obviously he didn't expect Yizan to agree without thinking, but he didn't know that what Yizan got was thousands of times more than what he got. Soon, the transfer was successful, and Jihoshin glanced at Yi Shuangao, because he never noticed the slightest mood swing in him from beginning to end. In other words, his wealth far exceeds this amount. Happy transaction, little friend. Jihoshin smiled slightly, and Supervisor Luo looked at him in shock. Adding in the 8.8 billion Shuangrong building, the big boss in front of him had sold more than 430 billion in less than half a day. Mr. Yi, walk slowly. A little while later, Manager Luo from the Biyuan garden sent the benefactor off respectfully. The shock in his eyes was not concealed at all. The scene just appeared in front of him like a movie. The happiness of a rich man, it really wasn't. Ordinary people like me can understand. Chapter 91. In the suburbs, in the garden. Second master, we found it. The old man looked at the message he received on his phone and said, Yizan, 23 years old, lives in Villa number 1 of Diwan, drives a Lamborghini worth hundreds of millions. The son of the devil, the fiancé of Sha Bining, the daughter of the Sha group, has a mysterious identity, and everything that happens with him, people who are in conflict either disappear from the world, or their life or death is unknown. Oh, when Jihoshin heard the old man's words, his eyes narrowed further. It's interesting. Jingle bell bell. Before he could think about it, his cell phone rang, and he picked up the caller ID. What did you say? There is something going on with the Lu family in Zhonghai. Okay, I get it. After hanging up the phone, Jihoshin couldn't help but smile. Now we have something good to watch. Second master, what are you doing? The old man couldn't help being stunned when he heard it. Obviously he didn't understand why his second master said so. Haha, Uncle Lei. Jihoshin looked into the distance outside the window. I just received news that Lu Chongtian, the head of the Lu family in Zhonghai, is coming to the suburbs with all the masters of the Lu family. The target is most likely Yizan. What? When the old man Uncle Lei heard this, his face was full of disbelief. All the Lu family in Zhonghai came to the suburbs just to deal with that kid. Are the Lu family crazy? Shock. The old man was really shocked, and even more confused as to why the Lu family wanted to do so. Crazy, maybe. Jihoshin pondered for a moment, his eyes flashed with wisdom. Uncle Lei, you may not know that just yesterday Lu Chongshan, the second master of the Lu family, was killed at the Juchongtian auction house. Well, Lu Chongshan is dead, and now it's possible that Lu Zongtian is going crazy. Good. Before the old man finished speaking, Jihoshin smiled meaningfully. As expected, the person Lu Chongshan had a conflict with in Juchongtian was Yizan, and he should have been killed by that kid. Hearing what his second master said, the old man Lei uncle was shocked. If that's the case, then that kid would be too scary. Yes. Jihoshin smiled slightly, and Yizan's figure appeared in his mind, and his strength must be extremely extraordinary, and he is so generous. Taken together, that boy is most likely from a hidden family. A hidden family. Hearing this, the old man's eyes were also very solemn. After all, that kind of existence was extremely feared by the old patriarch. If so, second master, should we take action? Need not. Jihooshin waved his hand slightly, then narrowed his eyes and said, that kid is one of the few people I can't see through. I want to see how he gets through this. Okay. The old man smiled bitterly after hearing this. He naturally knew the second master's temperament, so he didn't say anything more. Meanwhile, the suburbs are off the beaten path. Ding. The host consumes 35 billion RMB and gains wealth of 35 trillion RMB. The supercar was galloping. Yizan listened to the voice in his ear, and the corners of his mouth curled up. If the outside world knew about this speed of making money, he wouldn't be pulled out and shot. Then, bring up the properties panel. Name, Yizan. Realm, Peak of King Wu. Age, 23 years old. Appearance, MAX, second only to tomato readers. Abilities, God-level driving skills, God-level cooking skills, God-level massage, God-level treasure appraisal, immersive sound, God-level beast control, permanent experience of Kato finger, omnipotent music, medical master, forbidden power. Items. D1 number. 1 Villa X1, 30 million extended version Bugatti Veyron Thunder gunship. Wealth. 65.45 trillion RMB, enhancement level, no upper limit. Looking at the attribute panel, Yizan was full of emotions. Thinking about the 65 trillion wealth, it was estimated that it would not be a problem to break through to the peak of King Wu. However, now that his strength was enough to beat his opponents, there was no need to break through. If this idea is known to those old monsters who are immersed in the peak of King Wu, I wonder if they will get up and fight with them. You can't be too beastly as a human being. Have you ever thought about our feelings so much? While the supercar was galloping, at a certain moment, I noticed an undisguised murderous intent coming from a distance, and there were hundreds of them. Zhai, there are so many masters, could it be Zhai Lu family? Although they had not met each other, Yizan had already guessed the identity of the visitor. His eyes flashed and he grinned. That's fine, let's test our current strength with these people. A few minutes later, Dao Dao's figure appeared next to the Devil's Son, cutting off all those who retreated. There were more than 500 people in total, most of whom were first-rate masters, and there were more than 50 half-step martial arts masters. Yizan, son, come out and die. At this moment, a voice of soaring anger was heard, and then Lu Zongtian's figure appeared on the scene, with the perfect aura of a martial arts master surging out. The Lu family in Zhonghai has a big battle array. He pushed the door open and got out of the car, looking at the furious Lu Zongtian opposite, but it's really slow. I've been waiting for you here for a long time. Hearing this, Lu Chongtian's face turned livid. You really killed Chongshan and the others. Master, I'm here to meet him. At this time, a figure slashed at Yizan's neck with a very fast knife, and the late martial arts master's strength appeared instantly. Bingo! The late martial arts master looked overjoyed, as did everyone in the Lu family around him. It turned out that the boy was a crayon head who was worthless and useless. Something's wrong. Lu Zongtian's face turned cold because he felt an extremely dangerous aura coming from Yizan's body. What? The late martial arts master's face quickly changed drastically. How is it possible? I can't move. What kind of sorcery is this? Fear, unprecedented fear surged into his heart, and at this moment Yizan reached out his index finger and pointed it at the dagger. The next moment, the late martial arts master was turned into ashes, including the dagger, and he didn't even have time to scream. Hiss! The strange scene stunned everyone. How come? Suddenly stagnated in the air, and with one finger turned the late martial arts masters into flying ash. All the strong men in the Lu family stayed where they were. What happened on horseback was definitely not a dream. Yizan looked at the flying ashes in front of him, and his heart was shocked. I am so arrogant. Just a trace of the power of confinement has such power. Impossible. Lu Zongtian clenched his fists tightly. The scene just now was far beyond his understanding. Everyone come together and destroy him. Die. The Lu family's masters rushed forward. Although that person was strong, there was only one person after all. It was obvious that their thoughts were too simple. Bang! With a snap of his fingers, the next moment, a group of Lu family masters rushing to the front were imprisoned in the air, and the boards of Newton's coffin could not hold them down. The power of the ban imprisoned more than 10 people, and then strangely turned into fly ash from the air and dispersed in the wind. Gouda, the strong men of the Lu family who originally wanted to step forward, stopped and looked at Yizan as if they were looking at a devil. Boy, you are so brave. At this moment, a figure appeared in the field. The aura around him was that of a martial arts grandmaster, but it was a bit empty and it was obvious that he had just broken through. Father. When he saw the visitor, Lu Zongtian bowed respectfully. The visitor was Lu Qinren, the previous head of the Lu family. Lu Qinren nodded slightly, and then his eyes fell on Yizan. The heretics dared to show off their power in front of the old man. Give you a chance, cut off your hands and feet, and then use the magic just now. Lu Qinren's eyes were bright and blazing. If he had that kind of magic, no ordinary martial arts master would be his match. Idiot. Looking across at Lu Qinren, this old fool had his brain caught in the door and lived in vain for decades. What did you say? Lu Qinren was furious after hearing this. He said such vulgar words in front of everyone in the Lu family. How could he establish his authority in the future if he didn't make him pay the price? In this case, I will capture you and then torture you for sorcery. With a cold smile, Lu Qinren's figure flashed and appeared in front of Yizan the next moment, reaching out and leaving. So fast. Lu Zongtian looked at his father's skills and was filled with shock. My father is at least several times stronger than before. He is worthy of being a member of the Hidden Xia family. That kid is dead. Lu Zongtian's face was full of smiles, while all the experts from the Lu family around him were sarcastic. Old master, come on. Seeing the masters of the Lu family admiring each other enthusiastically, the corners of Lu Qinren's mouth curved. This was the scene he wanted to see, and then his eyes fell coldly on Yizan. Boy, in the next life, keep your eyes open and be a good man. Don't worry, I will dig out all the secrets in you. Snapped. Just when everyone in the Lu family thought that Yizan would be seriously injured even if he was not dead, a crisp slap came out, and then a voice came, Old fool, are you an idiot? You can beat so well. With a bang, Lu Qinren was drawn into blood mist by Yizan without even reacting. This time, he did not use the power of confinement, because drawing him into blood mist could better express his mood at the moment. No, father. Lu Zongtian's eyes widened and he stared at the field in disbelief. There was no figure of his father anywhere in the blood mist. Old master. The expressions of many masters of the Lu family changed greatly. What did I see? That boy actually turned the old master of martial arts into a blood mist. At the same time, Luo Tianhe, who had just arrived, uttered a curse word, and happened to see his president beating the martial arts master Lu Qinren to death. Gouda. When the masters of the Zhonghai Martial Arts Association saw this, those who were originally dissatisfied fell silent. Is that their future president? Such awesome skills. With the existence of a martial arts grand master, the entire Zhonghai Martial Arts Association would also have one person. However, such a being was actually killed by the future president of the Wanjin Chamber of Commerce with one move. No, it was shot into a blood mist. Such strength is definitely beyond the scope of a martial arts grand master. He must be a strong martial artist. It's scary to think about it. If this is true, let alone Zhonghai, even the imperial capital will be able to walk sideways. Everyone couldn't help but look at their own president, Grandma. President Luo's eyes were as vicious as ever. Only, they didn't know that Luo Tianhe was extremely shocked at this moment. Presumptuous. After Luo Tianhe came to his senses, he took the lead and came to the scene. The Lu family of Zhonghai is so bold to attack the president. Luo Tianhe, it's you. Lu Zongtian was filled with disbelief when he saw the person coming, especially the name he called Yizan. Luo Tianhe was originally the president of the Martial Arts Association, and he called him President Yizan. So the identity of this kid. It seems that I have more people. Seeing Luo Tianhe arrive, he brought with him thousands of masters from the Zhonghai Martial Arts Association, and the lineup was obviously much better than the Lu family. You. Lu Zongtian's eyes were cracked, and he looked at Yizan with hatred. If you offend a great figure in the hidden family, you will die no matter how strong you are. Yeah, Yi Zan glanced at Lu Zongtian, and then looked somewhere. Is he the hidden family you mentioned? Then, with a move of his right hand, two figures suddenly appeared from the darkness. They were the masters of the hidden Sha family behind the Lu family. Bad boy. The expression of the master of the hidden Sha family, who was a late martial arts master, changed greatly. If you are an enemy of my hidden Sha family, you will die. Snapped. After the crisp sound, the late martial arts master turned into ashes on the spot. This made Lu Zongtian's eyes widen. How is this possible? The man next to young Master Yu is a late-stage martial arts master, but he is still not an enemy with one move. All be good. Luo Tianhe's eyelids were twitching wildly. That person was stronger than him, and he was still killed instantly. No. He turned into ashes directly. What kind of strength does the president have? And, the most important thing is that these people are all from the hidden Sha family, and they are his enemies who want to destroy the family. Boy, you dare to touch me, the hidden Sha family, you, ho-ho. Before Sha Xiaoyu could finish his words, Yi Zan choked him. Sha Xiaoyu, the fourth hero of the hidden Sha family, you are so bold to touch my wife. Let me see who is instigating this. Yi Zan narrowed his eyes and domineeringly broke through the memory in Sha Xiaoyu's mind. A shrill scream came from Sha Xiaoyu's mouth. Lu Zongtian was stunned by such a scene. That madman dared to kill even the younger generation of geniuses from the hidden family. Isn't he afraid of revenge from the hidden Sha family? Kill, leave no one behind. Seeing the shocked Lu Zongtian, Luo Tianhe directly issued an order that the Lu family in Zonghai must be destroyed today. Yes, President. Everyone in the Zonghai Martial Arts Association transformed into tigers and wolves and rushed towards the masters of the Lu family. In an instant, they killed the Lu family with a devastating force, including Lu Zongtian. After all, Luo Tianhe was already in the middle stage of martial arts Grand Master, and Lu Zongtian was really not good enough in front of him. Thump. At the same time, the body of Sha Xiaoyu, one of the four hidden heroes of the Sha family, fell to the ground, and Yi Zan got his wish. Instructions from the hidden ancestor of the Sha family. Having said this, Yi Zan's gaze then fell in the direction of the hidden Sha family. Is it possible that the old immortal who gave my father-in-law the ancestral jade pendant is still alive? President. Coming closer, Luo Tianhe bowed respectfully, while thousands of martial arts association elites behind him solemnly bowed. I've met the president. Having witnessed the scene just now, they naturally did not dare to delay at all. No need to be polite. Looking at the people in the field, his eyes fell on the elites of the Martial Arts Association. Tisk. With a flick of the finger, dozens of rays of energy penetrated the brows of the members of the Martial Arts Association, and then turned into ashes on the spot without any warning, which was very strange. This is a traitor to the Lu family of Zonghai. From now on, Zonghai will still have to rely on you. What? When Luo Tianhe heard this, his expression changed drastically. Is there a traitor in the Lu family in Zonghai? There are actually dozens of them. The weakest ones are all top-level masters. There are more than 10 half-step martial arts masters, and there is even a late martial arts master vice president. If the president hadn't come this time, I'm afraid the Martial Arts Association would have been corroded by the Lu family sooner or later, but the president's methods just now were really terrifying. A little. Only Luo Tianhe was left in the field. Yi Zan looked at Luo Tianhe in front of him. President Luo, he comes from the reclusive Luo family. President, do you know everything? Regarding the president's methods, he has seen it before, and the method of detecting other people's memories is really unbelievable. Yi Zan nodded slightly. 10 years ago, the hidden Luo family was wiped out, and all the ancestors of the Luo family were poisoned and assassinated by the hidden Sha family. Speaking of which, this Sha Xiaoyu has a close relationship with you. He is the grandson of Sha Wangguo, the eldest elder of the Sha family. What? When Luo Tianhe heard this, his pupils were shocked, and his face was full of disbelief. President, are you saying that Sha Xiaoyu, the four outstanding figures of the Sha family, is the old fool grandson of Sha Wangguo? Thump. Luo Tianhe immediately knelt on the ground with his eyes full of excitement. Thank you, President, for killing the enemy's descendants for Tianhe. Jinling suburb, Biyuan. Ha! A figure appeared in the field. It was the old man Uncle Lei, but at this moment his face had a complicated expression. Uncle Lei, how are you? Ji Houshan naturally noticed something strange about the old man and asked curiously. Second master, as you expected, Yi Zan is not simple. Thinking about the scene he just saw secretly, the old man breathed a deep sigh of relief, that Yi Zan is extremely powerful. You may not believe it if I tell you. With one palm, Lu Qinren, who has already become a martial arts master, was drawn into a blood mist. Speaking of this, the old man still has lingering fears. What? Ji Houshan's expression became serious when he heard this. He could no longer remain calm and stood up from his seat, drained the martial arts master into blood mist with one move. Such strength, even the great masters of martial arts can't achieve it. Thinking about this, Ji Houshan looked into the distance. Could it be that he is a strong martial artist? Only, how is it possible that Yi Zan is so young, a 23-year-old martial arts expert? Is that kid really just a child of the Hidden World family? I'm afraid even a child of the Hidden World family cannot be so evil. As far as he knows, there are only a few elders in the Hidden family who are strong in martial arts. Second master, although I don't want to admit it, I'm afraid it is true. The old man took a deep breath and thought about the scene at that time. Even if I am a middle-level martial arts master now, I feel that I will be killed in one move in his hands. So, I came back after seeing that scene. My old face couldn't help but blush when I said this. After all, this is not a glorious thing. After a pause, the old man looked into the distance. That Yi Zan is definitely not just a descendant of the Hidden family, maybe he is a disciple of some master, an unborn disciple. After analysis, Ji Houshan took a deep breath. If we can make good friends with him, we will benefit a lot from the Ji family in the imperial capital in the future. Second master is wise. The old man bowed and nodded. If such a far-sighted vision could be realized, it would be possible for the family to skyrocket. Half a day later, next to Xuangrong building, there is a restaurant. It takes so long to go to a suburb. While dining in the booth, Xia Bining rolled her eyes and someone said, suddenly wondering what her man had just done. Not only did he wipe out the Zhonghai Lu family, but he also killed one of the 4 outstanding figures of the Hidden Xia family. If he had known about it, I wonder if it would still be so natural. Why, I miss your husband. Looking at the beautiful lady next to her, Chen Xueqi, who was eating melon at the side, burst into laughter as she joked. Sigh, what nonsense are you talking about? Xia Bining's face turned red. This guy is really crazy. Didn't he see that his cousin was still there? How dare he say that? Hey, cousin, if you dote on my sister-in-law so much, you won't worry about my cousin being spoiled by dog food. Xueqi. When Xia Bining heard this, her face turned even redder. Why are you following him around? Correct. After a few words of commotion, Chen Xueqi looked at Yi Zan curiously. Cousin, how was the discussion about the 1,000,000 acres of land? Okay. Yi Zan nodded slightly and said, I bought it for 35 billion. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Xia Bining and her cousin were both stunned on the spot, their 2 beautiful faces full of shock. What? Xia Bining seemed to be hearing hallucinations and looked at her man with confirmation. 35 billion. You still bought it? Hiss. Chen Xueqi took a breath. My God, my brother-in-law is just teasing himself and his sister-in-law. 35 billion. If my cousin says I'll buy it, I'll buy it. You, really? After a while, Xia Bining came back to her senses. The guy was talking like he was talking about 3 or 5 yuan. Did he know what he was talking about? Too arrogant. Chen Xueqi swallowed her saliva and continued. Originally, I was thinking of giving you tens of millions of commissions, but now it seems I don't need to. But cousin, Chen Xueqi blinked her curious eyes, looking forward to, how much money do you have? You spent more than 42 billion today alone, right? Let's put it this way. Listening to his cousin's words, Yi Zan smiled slightly and said, the richest man in the world is just a younger brother in front of your cousin. Ahem, cousin, you are so funny. Chen Xueqi coughed dryly. The world's richest man was just a younger brother in front of his cousin. Compared with him, she believed in ghosts in the world. This was so bragging. Of course, she didn't know that her cousin was already humble. Jingle bell bell. At this moment, Chen Xueqi received a call. Hey, Mom. After answering the phone, Chen Xueqi acted coquettishly, but soon her pretty face was full of shock. What are you talking about? Our family has become the richest man in Zhongcheng. My cousin. Okay, I get it. After hanging up the phone, Chen Shuiqi froze on the spot like a thunderbolt. The news from her mother was really shocking. Then, when I looked at my cousin, my eyes changed. Oh my god, my cousin actually helped my father acquire the wrong group. He was the richest man in Zhongcheng before. This operation of my cousin is so cool. What's wrong, Shuiqi? Xia Bining looked at her cousin's reaction and wondered. After waiting for a while, Chen Shuiqi looked at her cousin. Sister-in-law, my mother just called. I said that my cousin made my family the richest man in Zhongcheng some time ago. After that, he looked at Yizan with admiring eyes. Cousin, you hide it too deeply. The richest man in Zhongcheng. Hearing her cousin's words, Xia Bining was stunned for a moment and then looked at a certain guy to see how many things he was hiding from her. Cousin, sister-in-law, goodbye. In front of the restaurant, Chen Shuiqi sent her cousin away and didn't come back to her senses until the supercar disappeared from sight. Shuiqi. At this moment, Director Luo's voice came from the side. Manager. When Chen Shuiqi saw the person coming, she couldn't help but be stunned. She should have been off work for a while at this time, but she didn't expect that Supervisor Luo hadn't left yet. Come. Director Luo took out a card. Here is the commission from the sale of Shuangrong building. Check the amount when you have time. So fast. Chen Shuiqi looked at the bank card in her hand and was stunned. Manager Luo coughed dryly. How dare he be unhappy? The aunt in front of him was the cousin of the big spender. Correct. Manager Luo thought of something and then said, Shuiqi, given that you have performed well recently, I would like to promote you to sales manager. Sales manager. Chen Shuiqi looked at Director Luo and said apologetically, Director, I'm afraid I'm not up to the job. Originally, I planned to resign from your job tomorrow. Resign. Manager Luo was startled when he heard this. This was the cousin of the sponsor. It would be of great benefit to him to be the manager. Chen Shuiqi told the truth and said, my family has become the richest man in Zhongcheng. My father asked me to inherit the family business while going to school. Poof. The sudden words caused Supervisor Luo to suffer tens of thousands of injuries. This girl, when she resigned and returned home, she was going to inherit the family business and live a long life. At that moment, he really wanted to say whether there is such a father, and he also wants one. Cough. With a dry cough, Manager Luo's mouth twitched and was shocked. Congratulations. Husband, thank you. During the supercar, the beautiful lady gave a kiss and expressed her emotional thanks. I feel pretty good. My baby is getting more and more attractive. Sniffing the pleasant fragrance that lingered in his nose, Yizan smiled. What are you talking about? Listening to someone's ambiguous words, Xia Bining's face turned red and she glared at someone. Before she could think about it, her man's voice came to her ears again. It would be more interesting if I played a few poker games with my baby. PFF'd. Xia Bining, who was drinking water to suppress her shock, was choked to death. That fool was so bad. What waves of poker? I don't even know what you are talking about. Soon, Qianjin Restaurant. HMPH, Stinky Daddy. I only stay with mom, I ignore you. When the two little guys Xinshintongtong saw daddy and mommy staying home all day, they turned their heads away as if to say, the baby is angry, please comfort me. Seeing the scene in front of him, Meng Qiancho's mouth curved up. Although he was young, he already had some talent for trouble. The two junior sisters were so cute. Xia Bining. What are you talking about? Daddy and mommy are in trouble. Xia Bining's face turned red. How jealous were these two little ancestors? She had eaten too much when the three of them had given them dog food. HMPH. The two little guys glanced at mommy, and finally turned their heads away, but it was Yuhui who glanced at his daddy to see if he was there to comfort him. This cooperation was called a tacit understanding. Then, if you let daddy kiss us, we will forgive you. Xinshintongtong said proudly, her face that couldn't help but laugh was a little too cute. Look at you, I just told you not to go, it's better to wait. Xia Bining rolled her eyes at a certain guy, and Yizan hugged the two little guys' heads fondly. Well, daddy will tell you fairy tales, okay. Really? Oh well. The two little guys looked at each other, pecking at the rice and nodding their heads. We can only forgive you this time. The next day, early morning. On the beach behind Kyeonjin Hotel, a beautiful woman wearing a gauze skirt and swimsuit walked from the hotel. Her beauty was breathtaking under the golden sun. Wow, wow, Shin Shintong looked at the super beautiful mom, with little stars in her eyes. Meng Qiancho looked at the field with a face full of envy. Master's wife, you are so beautiful. Gouda, Sha Bining appeared on the beach wearing a gauze skirt swimsuit, which immediately attracted everyone's attention. Many boys unscrewed the caps of the water and couldn't help but pour it on the beach, swallowing saliva in their throats. Beautiful, so beautiful. The white gauze skirt swimsuit perfectly shows her figure, slender leg lines and slender waist, making people can't help but take a few more glances. Her hair fluttered with the sea breeze, gently brushing her white shoulders, exuding a charming fragrance. Ouch! Yi Zan's eyes lit up with such a dress. He really didn't expect that the beautiful lady would be so beautiful when she put on a gauze skirt and swimsuit. Her fairy-like appearance makes people want to have an encounter with her. Family, is this little beauty's swimsuit okay today? At this moment, a young and beautiful figure appeared in the field. She was broadcasting live outdoors on her mobile phone. It must be said that the girl had a super figure, at least 90 points, and it was her cousin Chen Shueqi. Look, you'll find a beautiful woman with the level of a fairy. Wife Shueqi, hurry up and go forward. White gauze skirt swimsuit, this figure is so good. Why does the profile look somewhat familiar? Quote. Looking at the barrage on the screen, Chen Shueqi frowned slightly. Instead of looking at this little beauty with such a good figure, she actually looked at others. How beautiful can it be? Before Chen Shueqi finished speaking, her eyes fell on the beautiful girl in a gauze skirt and swimsuit. Hey, my god, sister-in-law, this is too beautiful, isn't it? Aunt Shueqi. At this moment, Shin Shintongtong saw her Aunt Shueqi in a swimsuit and said hello excitedly. Sha Bining followed the sound and heard that Chen Shueqi's beautiful face bathed in the golden sun instantly appeared in the live broadcast room, and then everyone's eyes widened and their mouths opened wide. That girl is actually my cousin's beauty. Beautiful wife. Cousin, this is sister-in-law. Coming closer, Chen Shueqi's eyes widened. It's so beautiful. In particular, with that devilish figure, other people's food will only fall on their feet, but my sister-in-law may not have that chance at all. As the saying goes, the bear is so big that it can't be held with one hand. Look, you told me not to wear this. Listening to her cousin's words and the countless blazing gazes around her, Sha Bining already knew everything, but it felt like she had been seen through. Nizi, I didn't expect you to look so good in a gauze skirt and swimsuit. He looked up and down at the beautiful lady, but it only made someone roll his eyes. As expected, men like to see this. Only, let this guy see it, but others will feel weird, even though the distance between 3 small pieces of cloth is already much better. Go, aren't you jealous if so many people look at your wife? Sha Bining rolled her eyes, although she didn't know if a guy had looked at beautiful women who wore much less clothes than her. My wife is so beautiful, it's good for them to keep her eyes on her. After all, it's better to see that she can't eat her. Sigh, what nonsense are you talking about? The two were flirting, but it was Chen Shueqi's fans in the live broadcast room who exploded. I'm a fan. If you don't do this and blatantly spread dog food, cousin, have you ever considered the feelings of a singles? Yi Zan, what are you doing? When she saw a certain guy reaching towards her, that guy couldn't help but kiss her passionately right here. Think of this. Sha Bining's face turned red, but before he could think about it, Yi Zan turned his right hand next to his delicate ear, and suddenly a bright rose appeared in his hand, and the delicious rose fragrance came to his nostrils. Hey, my wife will give it to you. Against the backdrop of the golden morning sun, from Sha Bining's point of view, her man was super handsome. It turned out that guy was not trying to kiss her passionately, but to perform magic tricks on himself. The roses smelled so good. This guy is quite romantic. Thank you. Sha Bining's pretty face showed a beautiful curve, and her expression was extremely beautiful. Digging trenches is a tricky operation. Good guy, my cousin can actually do magic. He's so handsome. This level definitely exists for the master who seduces girls. Master, please bow to me as a disciple. Wife Shueqi, I seem to have fallen in love with your cousin, what should I do? Quote. When Shenhao saw this, there were little stars in her eyes. Daddy, we want it too. Daddy is so partial, he only loves mama. Sha Bining. Listening to the childlike words of the two little guys, Sha Bining's face turned red, and then it spread to the roots behind her ears. Do not know why. When she heard the words of her two little ancestors, she actually felt so sweet. Snapped. With a snap of his fingers, two identical roses appeared in his hands, which calmed the jealousy of the two little guys. Hee, Mom, we have some too. Shenhao showed off the roses in her hands to Mommy. Chen Shuiqi laughed when she saw such a scene. Good guys know how to fight for favors at such a young age, and they can do it when they grow up. Daddy, how about we play with building a castle? The two little guys looked at their daddy with expectant eyes, and those clear and pure eyes were irresistible. Of course, Chandrang rubbed the heads of the two little guys. Yi Zhan, who is a doting lover, was naturally not spared. Oops, Daddy, don't bury our feet. Mama, help me. Seeing the fuss of the three grandfathers, Sha Bining watched quietly, with the corners of her mouth curved in happiness, and took photos of the grandfather and father from time to time. Every moment was a beautiful picture. I'm so envious of Shenhao, my cousin is so doting. Chen Shuiqi looked at the scene, but she suddenly didn't realize that her slightly bowed body really brought a wave of benefits to the fans, who wanted to get into the screen. Gululu. At a certain moment, the two little guys' stomachs screamed in protest and they looked at Daddy eagerly. Daddy, we're hungry. Then, what do you want to eat? Carefully washing the little hands of the two little guys, the tourists around them were envious of their doting look. The two little guys thought seriously, and at a certain moment they reached an agreement and said two words, grilled fish. Good. Papa will cook grilled fish for you right away. While talking, Yi Zhan called Qianjin restaurant, and soon, several staff members delivered the barbecue grill and ingredients. Eviscerate, light a fire, sprinkle condiments. The series of movements are so smooth that it is a pleasure to watch. After all, Yi Zhan's cooking skills are on par with the gods. Not long after, the alluring aroma spread from the grilled fish, attracting the attention of all beachgoers. It smells so good. The quality of this grilled fish is too high. Don't you? I really want to take a bite. There were sounds of swallowing in the crowd. Meng Qianzhou's eyes shone brightly, the master's cooking skills were so good. At this moment, a voice came from not far away. Yi Xiaoyu, is it really you? Are you, Boss Ji? Seeing the person coming, Yi Zhan recognized him as the owner of 1 million acres of land in the suburbs of Zhonghai. After some introduction, Chen Shuiqi looked at Ji Haoshan. Cousin, he is the boss who bought millions of acres of land for 35 billion. Sha Bining looked at Ji Haoshan with her heart condensed. After all, someone who can own 1 million acres of land in the suburbs of Zhonghai is certainly not a simple person. This must be Mrs. Yi Xiaoyu, she is indeed stunningly beautiful. Thanks. Sha Bining nodded politely, her face slightly flushed, because she could vaguely detect the inherent nobility in the person in front of her. Chen Shuiqi's live broadcast room exploded at this moment. What did they hear? Cousin Shuiqi actually bought 1 million acres of land for 35 billion. 1 million acres of land, how big is that, and it cost 35 billion yuan. Are you sure Niang Exapes is not 350 yuan? Oh, Ji Haoshan took a bite of the grilled fish and couldn't help but give a thumbs up. Xiaoyu Yi, your cooking skills are amazing. This is. The old man, Uncle Lei, was shocked, because he felt that after eating the grilled fish, his strength even improved a little. This grilled fish, could be that something extraordinary was added to it. It is worthy of being the one who can turn the great masters of martial arts into blood mist with one palm. Such a skill is so impressive. Master, this grilled fish is so delicious. Meng Qianzhou showed a harmless smile that was very contagious. The two little guys nodded in agreement with the chickens pecking rice. Of course, Daddy is the most powerful. When the fans in the live broadcast room saw this, their saliva almost dried up. Compared with their cousin's grilled fish, the instant noodles in front of them suddenly didn't taste good. On the beach, the atmosphere is harmonious. Hiccup. Chen Shuiqi burped beautifully, and her pretty face made people want to kiss her. It would be even better if they could meet her by chance. My cousin's cooking skills are still so good. Thumbs up for my cousin. fans in the live broadcast room couldn't help but swallow their saliva. I don't know if they were greedy for the grilled fish or Shuiqi's wife. Well, at this moment, two people walked up not far away. One of them, a young Fuzang boy, laid his eyes on Xia Bining, his eyes filled with passion. I didn't expect that such a beautiful woman would exist in such a small place. Hey, master, let me help you catch that girl. Beside Kitamiya Musashi, a late-stage martial arts master with bright eyes, he would not miss such a good opportunity to perform. Kitamiya Musashi nodded slightly, and the image of the girl surrendering appeared in his mind. Be careful, don't hurt the beauty. Tisk. The Fuso expert took action decisively and went straight to Xia Bining. Miss, my young master wants you to come with me. Master wife, be careful. When Meng Qianqiu saw someone being unfavorable to his master's wife, his eyes were filled with red and murderous glow, and then he hit him with a pink fist. Bang! With a dull sound, Meng Qianqiu took a few steps back, but successfully forced the Fuso master to stop. However, what surprised him was that the 7 or 8-year-old girl received his blow without any damage. This girl, Ji Houshan, was shocked. He naturally saw that Master Fuzang was a late-stage martial arts master, but the 7 or 8-year-old girl was only slightly weaker than him. At least with martial arts master level strength, is this guy's apprentice. How terrifying. It's interesting. The Fuso master wanted to take action again, but the old man Lei Shu narrowed his eyes and slapped him upwards. The next moment, the Fuso master was sent flying 5 or 6 meters away. Roll. A cold snort came out, and the Fuso expert's eyes fell on the old man and his pupils suddenly shrank. Master, let's go. Ignoring the severe trauma, Kitamiya and Musashi left the beach in embarrassment, not daring to stay for a moment longer. Holy shit, what just happened? That Fuzang fool actually covets my cousin's wife. Ahem, but that little girl is so powerful, she actually blocked that old Fuzang fool. As expected of my cousin's apprentice, he is awesome. There was a lot of discussion in the live broadcast room. Ji Houshan and Uncle Lei looked at each other and saw that the other was shocked. I am afraid that the strength of the little girl is something that even the hidden family cannot cultivate. What does it mean to have a fighting power comparable to that of a martial arts master at the age of 7 or 8? Qianqiu, you, daughter so powerful. Chen Shuiqi looked at Meng Qianqiu in surprise. Of course she knew that this was her cousin's apprentice, so her cousin was more powerful. Sister, great. Xin Shintong's cute voice was excited, and she didn't forget to clap her little hands. She looked so cute. Talk a little. Young friend Yi, stay. Ji Houshan took the old man away, and the live broadcast room was filled with tears. The scene where the old man Uncle Lei took action just now appeared in front of his eyes like a movie. That is definitely a real master. PFF. On the other side, the Fuso master who had just left the beach was sprayed with blood, and his face was as pale as paper. Uncle Juji, what are you doing? Kitamiya Musashi's complexion changed drastically. He was a playboy, but that didn't mean he was a fool. Uncle Kusuk was a late martial arts master. Grand Master of Martial Arts. Juji took a deep breath and looked in the direction of Qianjin restaurant with fear. That old guy is a great martial arts master. It's not appropriate to stay here for a long time. Walk. At this moment, a figure appeared not far in front of the two of them. The woman who covets the master. Can you leave? What? Juji was shocked and looked forward in disbelief, because he had no idea when the other party appeared. Master, I'll stop him. Go quickly. A strong sense of uneasiness surged into his heart, and Juji's eyes were full of determination as he headed towards the person who came to kill him. Uncle Juji, be careful, Before Kitamiya Musashi finished speaking, he saw that Uncle Kuji in his mouth was directly slapped to death by the man, and his feet fell softly to the ground, even though he had the strength of a half-step martial arts master. Who are you? The tendons in his calves were so tight that Kitamiya Musashi couldn't get up at all. I warn you, I am the grandson of the president of the Fuso Martial Arts Association, and my grandfather is Martial Arts Grand Master Perfection. You dare to touch me, ho-ho. Before the voice fell, Kitamiya Musashi covered his neck, blood was still seeping out, and his eyes widened. You dare to kill me. Thump. Kitamiya Musashi was filled with fear and disbelief. The corpse hit the ground with a dull sound. Even before he died, he could not believe that he dared to attack his grandfather after he moved away the martial arts master Zochin. Martial arts grandmaster Zochin. Shenwu flicked his finger, and two black lights fell on the bodies of Kitamiya Musashi and then turned into two handfuls of flying ashes. The master is so strong that it doesn't matter if he is a master of martial arts. With a cold smile, Shenwu disappeared in place without disturbing anything, as if it had never appeared. Not long after, two figures appeared on the field, none other than Ji Hooshin and Uncle Lei. This is. The old man, Uncle Lei, narrowed his eyes and looked at the bloody scene. The two grandsons of the Fuso Martial Arts Association, Kitamiya Musashi, are dead. What? After Ji Hooshin heard this, he took a deep breath and felt the remaining breath. With this kind of fluctuation, could it be that he is a great martial arts master? Second master, it is indeed true. The old man looked solemnly and looked in the direction of the Zhonghai Martial Arts Association. It was definitely not Luo Tianhe who took action, which means that Yizan has other martial arts masters under his command. After peeling off the cocoon, the two of them felt their hearts sink. It is not appropriate to stay here for a long time. After all, the president of the Fuso Martial Arts Association is the great master of martial arts, perfection. Even the Ji family in the imperial capital must be afraid of him. Withdraw. Ji Hooshin took a deep breath and then disappeared. Yes, second master. The old man, Uncle Lei, took a deep look at the scene, and was quite shocked. But, why, there is not even a body. Could it be that that boy's men directly caused Kitamiya Musashi to evaporate from the world? But, after a pause, the old man looked in the direction of Fuso. Katanomiya Musashi was killed. With his grandfather's protective temperament, I'm afraid the Kitamiya family will be in big trouble. It's even possible that the family will be wiped out. Thinking about this, the old man took a deep breath. Compared to this, he was more curious about how Yizan gave a 7 or 8-year-old girl the strength of a martial arts master. Little did the two of them know that the countdown to the end of the Fuso Baigong family had quietly begun at this moment. Night falls. At a certain moment, Mu Hanzu came to the venue pushing a customized high-rise cake, and then the stage lit up. Xin Shintongtong appeared on the stage, and this scene brought Xia Bining back to her senses. Next, this song is for Mom, Happy Birthday. The accompaniment sounded, and the beautiful voices of the two little guys came out. The cute and sweet voice made Xia Bining's heart ripple. These two little guys, today is actually their birthday. Yizan, when did it happen? She obviously knew that this was a special gift given to her by the three masters. It would be a lie to say that she was not touched. Humph, these masters are so abominable, they hid it so deeply. She didn't notice at all. Young lady, Master Yi, you asked me to prepare it a week ago. Mu Hanzu said with envy at this time. Mr. Yi is so doting, letting the two young ladies sing to the young lady, so romantic. That's colorful bubbles. Mu Hanzu was still about to say something, but then she saw fairy tale-like bubbles falling from the sky above the stage. Wow, this is sister-in-law's birthday. Chen Xueqi was also stunned. My cousin actually had a major event. Fortunately, I came today, otherwise I might have missed something. I knock. Fans in the live broadcast room were also stunned. Today is actually my cousin's wife's birthday, but this operation is a bit too pampering. I prepared it a week ago and I am convinced by eating this dog food. Do you want this? Cousin, why is my husband so handsome, so doting and loving? How's it going? Do you like it? Looking at the beautiful woman beside him, Yizan rubbed his head fondly and said. Feeling the caress of a certain guy like a doting daughter, Xia Bining's face turned red, spreading to the roots behind her ears. To be honest, no girl wouldn't like this kind of super doting scene. Detect the affection of the host's wife and give her a charming body. Note, the charming body can enhance the experience tenfold, and it will be a lot of fun. Listening to the singing of the two little guys on the stage, Yizan was stunned. This is okay. Charming body. It also enhances the experience 10 times. Are you crazy? You know, their business experience has been quite good now. If it improves tenfold, it would be a bit unimaginable for him. Thank you. Xia Bining thanked her emotionally. Everything in front of her was obviously done by this guy. Thank you for whatever you do, it's what a husband should do. Holding the beauty in his arms, Yizan smiled fondly. Kiss me. My cousin was not too dissatisfied with the excitement and made a fuss, and then a uniform voice sounded in the field. Wow. After Shenhao heard this, her eyes widened, giggled. Daddy, Mommy, give me a kiss. These two little guys, well. Before Xia Bining could finish speaking, her red lips were blocked and her beautiful eyes widened. The effect of the tenfold enhanced experience can be imagined. And the experience was enhanced tenfold, not only for Yizan, but also for Xia Bining. Oh my god. Chen Shuiqi looked at her cousin and sister-in-law in front of her, and couldn't help but swallow her breath. Is it really good to be such a spoiler? So sweet, it's a pity why such a handsome guy is not mine. Yeah, if my future husband dreams like this, he will wake up laughing. It's a French kiss. I really want to have one with a handsome guy. Everyone on the beach was talking heatedly. Looking at the passionate kissing scene, many girls stood with their hands clasped on top of the two bears, their eyes full of envy. I don't know how much time has passed. After the passionate kiss ended, Xia Bining's face turned red to the back of her ears, and she struggled to get into someone's arms. You can't bear to leave. Hateful. I just felt so weird. How could it be? I've never had a passionate kiss before, it's so nostalgic. Thinking of this, Xia Bining's face turned even redder, and the villain in her heart went crazy. Xia Bining, you are crazy, you actually missed that guy's passionate kiss. Is this still you? In fact, Xia Bining was frightened by her own thoughts. If that guy knew this, he would laugh at her to death. But that feeling is really addictive. Tisk tisk, this feels really good. Yizan couldn't help but murmured as he recalled the scene just now, but it made the beautiful woman roll her eyes. But you're a big-headed ghost. However, she naturally didn't know that this was entirely due to her charming body. Just a passionate kiss is like this, but if there is a few waves of business. You guy, what are you thinking about? When the beautiful lady saw the evil smile on someone's lips, she thought he was laughing at her and gave him a fierce look. Nothing. He held the beauty in his arms and murmured in a low voice, "That's right, my husband wants to discuss some business with us tonight." You, spit. Hearing what a certain guy said, Xia Bining's face turned slightly dizzy. I knew you weren't holding it in. How come? Your man's stock is full and he is preparing to give it to you tonight. After hearing what a certain guy meant, Xia Bining snorted and turned her head to the side, no longer talking to him, because she was afraid that she would not be able to control herself and bite him. Indeed, someone is so hateful. As for the inventory being full, of course she knew what it meant. After all, this was not the first time for the two of them. After a while, it turned out that the two of them had tortured the singles around them. Even if envy could be embodied, they would probably be bursting at the seams. By the way, wife. Yizan thought of something, and then smiled meaningfully. My husband will give you another gift. Gift. Hearing someone's words, especially that smile, made her wonder what the hell this guy was up to. Snapped. With a crisp snap of your fingers, brilliant fireworks rose from a distance, then bloomed in the air and finally turned into a string of fonts. Dear wife, happy birthday, husband who loves you. Then, above the font, there were lovers kissing composed of fireworks, which looked very much like the two of them just now. The gorgeous fireworks instantly illuminated the entire Qianjin restaurant and the beach as if it were daytime. Hiss. Such a scene could not help but make everyone around take a breath. The special effects of these fireworks alone must be quite expensive. Immediately afterwards, hundreds of fireworks bloomed at the same time, each of which added a touch of color to the night sky. Oh my god, this handsome guy is so romantic. Mom, I like it so much. Handsome guy, how about I come home with you? How much do these grand fireworks cost? It feels like the sky is covered. This little beauty was caught off guard by eating this dog food, blah blah blah. That girl is so happy, jealousy makes me feel separated. Chen Shuiqi looked at the fireworks in the sky and was speechless. Cousin, do you want to envy yourself to death? You can die if you keep a low profile. Hee, let the storm come more violently. So strange. Shenhao tilted her head. Mom, she seems to have become beautiful again. It really is. Chen Shuiqi looked at her sister-in-law with envy. Can your appearance still improve? Seeing this scene, Yizan smiled and said nothing, and this was naturally due to his charming body. It's getting late, let's go back to the pub. Feeling the attention of everyone, Sha Bining really couldn't bear it, and the two little guys were tired after playing for a day. A little later, back to the hotel room. On the balcony. Buzz. At a certain moment, Sha Bingning's delicate body trembled in the sound of the phoenix, and then an aura spread out, and her charming body resonated and she reached the perfection of martial arts master. If my father-in-law saw this scene, I don't know what he would think. After all, he himself is only in the middle stage of martial arts master. Yi Zan looked at his wife in surprise. How talented is this girl now? Detecting the host's wife's charming body, the state has been upgraded to the early stage of the martial emperor. At this moment, the sound of the system sounded in his ears, which made Yi Zan sigh with emotion. This can break through the strength. Then, bring up the properties panel. Name, Yi Zan. Realm, Early Emperor Wu. Age, 23 years old. Appearance, MAX, second only to tomato readers. Abilities, God-level driving skills, God-level cooking skills, God-level massage, God-level treasure appraisal, immersive sound, God-level beast control, permanent experience of Kato finger, omnipotent music, medical master, forbidden power. Items. D1 number. 1 Villa X1, 30 million extended version Bugatti Veyron Thunder gunship. Wealth. 65.45 trillion RMB, enhancement level, no upper limit. Looking at the attribute panel, Yi Zan was quite emotional. Although he didn't know what the martial emperor's realm represented, it was definitely awesome, even in the hidden family. After all, the four major families in the imperial capital are only as powerful as the great masters of martial arts, and above that there are two realms of martial arts and martial kings. The most important thing is that if the 23-year-old martial emperor's strength were revealed, all the hidden families in the world would be turned upside down. At this moment, Yi Zan noticed a murderous intention coming from far and near, and the direction was very clear, and it was coming towards Yi Zan. This breath, having entered the realm of the martial emperor, Yi Zan's insight was more than 10 times stronger than before. The great master of martial arts is perfect. Such strength, and there are no less than 5 other martial arts masters. The hidden Sha family. This was the first thought in Yi Zan's mind. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but narrow his eyes. I originally thought that the promotion to the martial emperor was too fast, but now it seems that it is not bad. After all, the enemy is getting stronger and stronger. Wouldn't it be a shame to Tongzi if our realm remains unchanged? Now that we've taken action, let's keep them all. He disappeared in a flash, and the next moment, Yi Zan appeared in the forest far away from Qianjin restaurant. Qianjin restaurant, deep in the jungle nearby. A Taoist figure appeared on the scene, led by a very powerful person, who was the martial arts grandmaster Yu Zan in Yi Zan's exploration. In addition, there were 5 martial arts grandmasters beside him. 10th Elder, I'm sorry to trouble you this time. One of the men, a man in the middle stage of the martial arts grandmaster, apologized to Sha Yuanqi, the martial arts grandmaster. This man's name was Sha Pingchuan, and he was the father of Sha Xiaoyu, the 4 great masters of the reclusive Sha family. No problem. Sha Yuanqi smiled slightly, and was not upset because he was the 10th elder of the hidden Sha family. After all, Sha Pingchuan's father, Sha Wangguo, was the eldest elder of the hidden Sha family. Now he has entered the existence of a martial spirit, and his aloof status is not at all he is comparable. Xiao Yu's life or death is uncertain. I want to see what that boy named Yi Zan is capable of. After a pause, he continued. Besides, my ancestor asked me to visit the Sha family in Jinling before coming here. Although I don't know why my ancestor cares so much about the small family in this world. Oh, hearing Sha Yuanqi's words, Sha Pingchuan was stunned. It turns out that the 10th elder came with a mission. Sha Pingchuan understood for a moment that he said that the 10 elders would come in person this time. Did co-author want to take away the credit from his father, and then get the guidance of the ancestor, intending to take a half-step into the martial arts? At this moment, Sha Yuanqi narrowed his eyes and looked somewhere. Then the more than 30 people in the hidden Sha family were all alert, and they suddenly saw a person appearing not far away. 10th elder, he is Yi Zan, the son-in-law of the Sha family in Jinling. Yeah, Sha Yuanqi's eyes fell on Yi Zan, feeling the extraordinary aura. Boy, that's interesting. Then, another person appeared in the field, and this person was Luo Tianhe. What? When Sha Pingchuan saw the person coming, his pupils shrank suddenly, his face looked like he had seen a ghost. You are Luo Tianhe, a remnant of the Luo family, this is impossible. Luotian River. Looking at the person coming, Sha Pingchuan's eyes were full of disbelief. 10 years ago, he saw his father being seriously injured and thrown into an abyss. How could he still be alive? Haha, what a surprise. Luo Tianhe smiled coldly and looked at his former enemy. He could even recognize Sha Pingchuan's face when it turned into ashes, the hatred of destroying the family, the hatred of heaven. Sha Pingchuan, die. With a scoff, Luo Tianhe attacked Sha Pingchuan with his eyes red and murderous intent surging throughout his body. Snort, I'm afraid of you. After all, Sha Pingchuan was not an ordinary person. After calming down, he sneered contemptuously. It doesn't matter if you are alive, I will kill you with my own hands today. Bang! In an instant, the two fists and palms met, but Sha Pingchuan was knocked back 5 to 6 meters by the palm. You! Sha Pingchuan looked at Luo Tianhe across from him, with disbelief in his eyes again, the middle stage of martial arts master, and one step away from the late stage. Obviously, Luo Tianhe's strength had a big impact on him. After all, he was seriously injured by his father. Even if he survived, according to common sense, he would not be able to make any progress. Boy, you are the son-in-law of the Jinling Sha family. The 10th elder Sha Yuanqi looked at Yi Zan in a cat-and-mouse manner, and said with contempt and ridicule, "Come, let me see what's so special about you, elder." Whoosh! Without any hesitation, Sha Yuanqi's martial arts master's great perfection aura surged out, and the overwhelming momentum forced the masters of the hidden Sha family to retreat continuously. So strong. As expected of me, the 10th elder of the Sha clan. Everyone looked at Sha Yuanqi, their eyes full of heat. If they had such strength, they would not be afraid of anyone. That kid is dead. The master of the hidden Sha family looked at Yi Zan with his eyes full of jest. If the great master of martial arts, perfect master, took action, there would be no way for that kid to survive. However, under the spotlight of everyone, Yi Zan pointed out with his index finger. You don't know how to live or die. When Sha Yuanqi saw that the boy opposite him actually used one finger to receive a perfect blow from his martial arts master, Sha Yuanqi smiled coldly and used his hand even more forcefully. President, be careful. Seeing Sha Yuanqi's fierceness, Luo Tianhe's expression changed, and he naturally saw that Sha Yuanqi had become a great martial arts master. Boom! However, just under this finger, Sha Yuanqi's complexion changed drastically, and the terrifying energy instantly blasted him more than 10 meters away, with blood spraying out. He couldn't believe it. You, a strong martial artist, it's impossible. With a tilt of his head, he turned into a corpse and hit the ground. At that moment, the ground seemed to have an earthquake. An overwhelming sound came from under his body, and cracks spread like spider webs. There was dead silence in the field. What? Luo Tianhe was dumbfounded. He even forgot to attack. He stared at the field with wide eyes, killing the great master of martial arts with one finger. The president's strength is so terrifying. Gouda swallowed his saliva. The scene in front of him was really shocking. The great master of martial arts, perfection, had never been killed so easily. Even ordinary martial arts experts probably can't do it. Thinking of this, Luo Tianhe looked at Sha Pingchuan again, with murderous intent. Sha Pingchuan, take your life. Boom! At this moment, the aura around Luo Tianhe suddenly became stronger due to the terror and hatred, which made Sha Pingchuan's expression change again. The late stage of the great master of martial arts. Sha Pingchuan's face was gloomy. He was not a match for this guy originally, but now the consequences of a breakthrough would be disastrous. Stab! Before everyone could recover, Luo Tianhe had already cut Sha Pingchuan's neck with a knife, which made Sha Pingchuan's pupils shrink suddenly. I won't give in. With a plop, Sha Pingchuan's body hit the ground hard, and a pool of blood emerged from under him. Escape. Everyone in the hidden Sha family didn't even think about it. They turned around and left the field. Just kidding, the great masters of martial arts were all killed with one finger. Their strength was nothing. However, just as they were about to leave, they were shocked to find that they couldn't move an inch. I can't move anymore, what's going on? Strong uneasiness emerged from the hearts of everyone. When Yizan saw this scene, the corner of his mouth curled up. Now that he had taken action, he would not let it go. President Luo, kill everyone, leave no one behind. After Luo Tianhe heard this, he was stunned for a moment. When he saw a dozen people who seemed to be frozen in place and realized something, he nodded heavily, yes, Mr. President. Ha! The figure flashed, and the next moment, more than 30 blood splashes were splashed, and then many masters of the hidden Xia family died on the spot, including several great masters of martial arts. Thump! Dozens of corpses hit the ground. Luo Tianhe felt as if he was in a dream. Just now, he killed his enemy Xia Pingchuan and killed more than 30 Xia family masters. Happy. What a pleasure. After 10 years, he finally took revenge and collected some interest, and he felt unprecedentedly happy. Thump. Luo Tianhe knelt down on one knee. President has been so kind to me, Tianhe will never forget it. Get up. Yizan smiled slightly. Just doing it casually was nothing, at least in his opinion. Correct. Then Yizan thought of something and took out a bank card. President Luo, there are 50 billion in this card, 30 billion of which is used for the operation of the Zhai Chamber of Commerce branch, and the remaining 20 billion is used to cooperate with the Xia Group branch to develop China shipping millions of acres of land in the suburbs. This, 0.50 billion. Luo Tianhe looked at the bank card in his hand in shock. He felt like a huge mountain for a moment, and he was sure that he had not heard any hallucinations. 50 billion, just give it as the chairman says. This operation is comparable to the impact of its strength. Wrong. Soon, Luo Tianhe thought of something and looked at his president in surprise. President, what did you just say? You bought 1 million acres of land in the suburbs of Zhonghai. As the president of the Zhonghai Martial Arts Association, he naturally knew that 1 million acres of land in the suburbs of Zhonghai was controlled by a big shot, but he did not expect that it would be bought by his own president. Yizan nodded slightly and didn't care about it. After all, buying 1 million acres of land from the beginning was just a matter of paying money. Concubine, you will die today. At this moment, a loud shout came, and then a man covered in blood fell down not far away, and then dozens of figures surrounded him. Even if the King of Heaven comes, I can't save you. With a cold smile, the leader was none other than Lin Qiye, the second master of the lineage of the Lin family's mistress. As for the man covered in blood, he was obviously their target this time. Looking around, Yizan's eyes trembled when he saw the figure of a man covered in blood clearly, because that man was his uncle Lin Zhanghai, whom he had not seen for many days. Kill him. Lin Qiye smiled coldly, and dozens of people from the Lin family of the imperial capital swarmed around him. The weakest ones were all half-step martial arts masters. Snapped. Just when Lin Zhanghai was about to fight desperately, a figure appeared beside him, and then slapped the attacking martial arts master into a blood mist with one palm. Lin Zhanghai subconsciously looked at the figure who suddenly appeared in front of him, and his pupils shrank when he saw the face. Xiaozan, it's actually you. Xiaozan, leave quickly. Thinking of the identities of Lin Qiye and others, Lin Zhanghai looked solemn. They are members of the Lin family, the 4 major families in the imperial capital. Oh, Lin Qiye saw the rare change in the face of the concubine Lin Zhanghai, and looked at Yizan with interest. It's interesting. It seems that this boy is very important to you. Uncle, leave the next step to me. Yizan's eyes fell on Lin Qiye opposite him, and he narrowed his eyes. Is it you who hurt my uncle like this? Presumptuous. At this moment, a martial arts master from the Lin family in the imperial capital yelled, Who are you? How dare you talk to my second master like this? Snapped. Before Yizan could take action, Luo Tianhe looked gloomy. You fool, who are you to be disrespectful to my president? With one palm, the martial arts grand master of the Lin family in the imperial capital was severely injured on the spot. Blood spurted out. He looked at Luo Tianhe beside Yizan with eyes full of disbelief. You are a late-stage martial arts grand master. What? Hearing the words of the masters of the Lin family, Lin Qiye looked solemn. That boy is surrounded by a late-stage master of martial arts. President, how should we deal with these people? Luo Tianhe bowed respectfully and did not look at Lin Qiye and others at all. After all, the Lin family, a mere imperial capital, could not pose the slightest threat to his own president. Joke. Didn't you look at the president who just killed the martial arts grandmaster Yuan with one finger? As for the four major families in the imperial capital, the strongest one is the martial arts grandmaster Yuan. Kill. Yizan helped Lin Zhanghai up, and the corners of Luo Tianhe's mouth curved. Yes, president. When the voice fell, Luo Tianhe did not dare to waste any time. In an instant, his figure flashed, and then dozens of masters from the Lin family in the imperial capital were all wiped out. Only Lin Qiye stared at the scene with fear in his eyes. You dare to touch the people of the Lin family of our imperial capital? You are so bold, our imperial capital Lin family will not let you go. Tisk. The sword flashed, and blood sprayed from Lin Qiye's neck, turning into a corpse with disbelief. Xiaozan, is this? Lin Zhanghai looked at his nephew with horror in his eyes, especially when his eyes fell on Luo Tianhe, who could actually kill even the great master of martial arts. Moreover, it seems that he is still a subordinate of his nephew. After a long sigh, Lin Zhanghai smiled bitterly and continued, Xiaozan, I'll tell you the truth. In fact, my uncle, I am the concubine of the Lin family in the imperial capital. More than 20 years ago. Listening to his uncle's words, Yizan understood. Together with his mother and son, they were kicked out of the Lin family by the Lin family's lineage in the imperial capital. The reason why they suddenly took action against his uncle now was precisely because the imperial capital's matron's lineage knew about Lin Zhanghai. The strength has reached the level of a martial arts master. To put it bluntly, the Lin family's second master wanted to make his mother happy before he took action, but he didn't expect that he would lose his life. Uncle, do you want to completely eliminate the threat? Hearing Yizan's words, Lin Zhanghai clenched his fists, but then relaxed his fists. I have never dreamed of it, but, the Lin family of the imperial capital. When he thought of the big mountain of the Lin family in the imperial capital, Lin Zhanghai felt so depressed that he couldn't breathe. That's okay. Yizan waved his hand indifferently, then smiled and dialed a phone number. Shenwu, send me to the imperial capital as quickly as possible. Yes, master. After hanging up the phone, while Lin Zhanghai was wondering, the sound of a helicopter sounded in the air. Lin Zhanghai thought about the phone call his nephew made just now, and vaguely guessed something. Could it be? Let's go, uncle. I will personally go with you to the Lin family in the imperial capital to see who this Lin family in the imperial capital is. Listening to Yizan's words, Lin Zhanghai's mind went crazy. Going to the Lin family in the imperial capital is absolutely impossible. Swallowing his saliva, Lin Zhanghai looked solemn as never before. Xiaozan, you don't know how powerful the Lin family in the imperial capital is as one of the four major families. Yeah. After hearing this, Luo Tianhe didn't take it seriously and said with a smile, Don't worry, Your Excellency, even the great martial arts master Yuan is no match for the president. Unless there is a strong martial artist from the Lin family in the imperial capital, the president can protect himself. Wuling is in charge. Lin Zhanghai looked at Yizan in surprise, his eyes full of excitement. Xiaozan, you really have the strength to defeat the great master of martial arts, perfect. Good. Yizan nodded slightly, and Lin Zhanghai couldn't help but take a breath after learning. At the age of 23, he has a strength comparable to that of a half-step martial arts spirit. Swallowing his saliva, Lin Zhanghai thought of something next. So, what is the realm of your master Xiaoshuan? I think it's above martial arts, I don't know what it is specifically. Yizan spoke vaguely, but these words made Luo Tianhe's mind explode. Shrimp, Mr. President, there is also an expert master. And, the strength is at least above the martial spirit. Should that be the realm of the martial king? It's hard to imagine. To know, a powerful martial king is an ancestor-level existence even in a hidden family. At that level, it is not a problem to live 200 to 300 years. Lin Zhanghai breathed a deep sigh of relief, and at a certain moment his eyes became firm when looking in the direction of the imperial capital. Okay. Uncle, I will go crazy with you once. If I succeed this time, I will listen to you from now on. Undoubtedly, his status as the son of a concubine of the Lin family in the imperial capital was a pain in his life. Originally, he wanted to stay away from the wrong place in the imperial capital, but he did not expect that even though he had remained anonymous for more than 20 years, the Lin family in the imperial capital would not let him go. Looking at Lin Qia's body on the ground, Lin Zhanghai's eyes flashed with coldness. If this is the case with the Lin family in the imperial capital, don't blame me. You are all to blame for this. He night has gone deep. The Lin family in the imperial capital. Huchi. A helicopter landed in front of the Lin family in the imperial capital, and 3 people got off the helicopter, namely Yi Xuanluo Tianhe and Lin Zhanghai. Whoosh. Several figures appeared on the scene. Subordinate, I have met the master. With a bang, more than 10 people led by Shen knelt down on one knee, which shocked Luo Tianhe. Good guys, these are 3 martial arts masters, more than 10 martial arts masters. The president has such a powerful master under his command. This. Lin Zhanghai swallowed his saliva. Although he was now in the middle stage of martial arts master, he felt that every one of the dozen people who appeared was better than him. To be precise, every one of them could kill him instantly. Follow me into the Lin family in the imperial capital. Anyone who resists, kill. Yi Zhan took a step forward, and the terrifying aura turned into a vast ocean of energy and instantly blasted the gate of the Lin family manor in the imperial capital into pieces. Seeing this, Luo Tianhe took a breath. I'm a good boy, Mr. President. What kind of strength is this? It's a bit scary. What will happen next is really exciting. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.